guess we'll just kind of do what we normally do. Kind of keep it tight. Some of the stuff that we all saw, I guess we can kind of knock out as whoever brings it up first. We can, just add on to that, and then, go through the rest of our list when it comes our turn, because that should knock out enough. And shit, there's a lot here.
Yeah. And there's a lot of carryover though. Like you and Pete both watched 9 Perfect Strangers. You and I watched Lovecraft Country.
So, all right, cool. We have little links in the chain.
And then I watched. Did everybody watch a movie too? Alex did.
Yeah, I didn't.
Our
franchise.
Our franchise.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't watch anything either.
But the Olympics are over.
Yeah, I just didn't have time.
Yeah, what's behind?
Looking at your list, you definitely had time.
Yeah. Let me see. What could you have omitted? I guess Heels. Discovery General Overview. So that's more than one show. Well Done with Sebastian Maniscalco. I like Sebastian. All right, are we ready? Ready to go now? Jesus, all of us.
5, 4.
We're gonna hear the hurricane coming.
2,
Right.
1.
Welcome to the All Pop No Culture podcast. I'm your host this week, Opie, and I'm joined as always by Kevin,
Hey,
Pete,
What it do?
Alex,
Hi.
and David.
Hello.
Out of order on purpose.
I figured.
We are a pop culture centered podcast. If you've never listened to us before, we generally go through movies and television that we've seen that's within the last week, in this case 2, since we haven't recorded in a couple, and then we also have been assigned franchise movies that it looks like 3 of us will be talking about this week. I have the Lethal Weapon franchise. David has Indiana Jones, and Kevin has the Next Generation Star Trek films. Pete is supposed to start Mission Impossible, was not done so yet, and Alex has High School Musical, which I believe you've seen 1 so far, so eagerly await that second one, which is odd. It's been 2 weeks and you haven't been able to get down the second one.
Yeah, that first one might be all you get.
This is where you're done.
I just give up. That's it.
It'd be like 4
This is
years
the thing.
from now. It's like, dude, just an hour and a half.
I just
of your
didn't
life.
have time.
Just after Nightmare on Elm Street, I can't take this shit again.
Well, I do look forward to that next one. I mean, there's 2 left, so I mean, you might as well. I mean, you should just go.
I'll get to him.
You should just juggernaut straight through it. Just all right. Well, since we do have a lot to talk about, I think we should probably get to it, because I have a feeling it's going to take a little while. So, but judging by the list, it looks like me and Kevin have the most to say. So we have a lot of overlap as well. So Kevin, why don't you go and start us off, and then we'll kind of pop in when we're relevant.
All right. So the first thing on my list, I was saying before we started recording, is a movie called Aftermath. It was on Netflix. And when I put this on my list and then came back to look at my list later on, I remembered absolutely nothing about this movie. Not who was in it, not what it was about. Nothing. Well,
let me ask you this. Yeah, so Aftermath with Ashley Greene and Shawn Ashmore, who played Iceman in the X-Men movies.
Yes.
Why'd you watch it? Like, what drew you to it?
It popped up on the list, and I think I had read somewhere somebody talking about it. It was a horror film, or billed as a horror film.
Okay.
And
the poster looks like a horror film.
Yeah, and it starts off, a little horror moody or whatever. And the Aaron Ashmore is a crime scene cleanup guy. Like, him and his buddies go to crime scenes and they clean them up. And he cleans this really fancy house, and decides that he and his wife had an affair, and so it's called Aftermath because it's them getting over the affair, right?
Okay.
And trying to get through. So his solution is, you know what, let's recommit, let's buy this house for cheap because it's, you know, it's really nice and it would be out of our price range if it, you know, in other circumstances. So he knows what happened in the house. There's a big murder suicide in the house. And so he gets a fat discount on it and they end up buying it. And then weird shit ensues at the house, very much like Paranormal Activity style weird stuff kind of starts happening in the house. It's important to note that this movie claims to be based on a true story. Yeah. And so it is based on a true story, and the true story is probably better than the movie because the movie tries to make it a little scarier as you would with a movie versus real life. But it's the real life story. I don't know if you remember, there was a couple who bought a new house, and it turns out somebody was like hiding in the house and like fucking with them after they bought the house because they wanted to get a deal on it, right? So they were doing all kinds of weird shit, and they sent the person that was trying to break into the house sent or put up Craigslist ads impersonating the wife, saying that she had a rape fantasy and that you should just come to the house and, you know, and just do it.
Dang.
Right? Yeah, and this was in California somewhere actually pretty close to you guys.
Great.
And yeah, and it was totally psycho. But anyway,
wait, Southern California or Northern?
Northern.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a trip.
Is it Pete?
Jeez.
No, he puts out Craigslist ads saying he likes to get raped.
Oh, that's right. You're getting up.
That's how I met him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How else do we get listeners?
But anyway, so, you know, that's basically the gist of the movie too. But like, it really, really, really read like a Lifetime movie. Like as it started to go, just like the dialogue, the writing, like all of it. It just
real
felt
quick.
very,
It was in San Diego in 2011.
Oh, was it San
so
Diego?
cool.
Oh, okay.
Darn it.
I thought it was like San Marin or something.
Wow, no, I never heard about that.
Yeah, it was.
Not that
Yeah,
I
that's
recall.
crazy.
4 or 5 years ago, I think.
2011.
Oh, it was that
ago?
far back. Okay. See, obviously I know nothing about this fucking movie. So anyways, it sucked. I would not recommend it to anybody. I if you want to be if you want to be more terrified
on IMDb.
Yeah, if you want to be more scared, just look up the news stories and read those, because that actually happens. That makes it much scarier. I don't know.
Right.
Next on my list, besides my movie review, is What If and Ted Lasso. I don't know if we want to jump into those now or save them for later.
Let's jump back to those. Let's go through more of what you've
and then
seen.
Schmigadoon, you want to save that one too?
Because I think the four of us.
I think everybody watched
yeah.
Okay. So jumping to another shitty, almost horror movie. I watched a movie called Things Heard and Seen on Netflix with some dude I didn't recognize, and then Amanda Seyfried. And this one, this couple, or this husband is a like an English, or I think he's an art professor, and he buys a house in like upstate New York. Is it say history?
No, this is exactly how you started the first one.
I'm just reading the IMDb notes on it as a history professor.
Oh,
another 5.3. Jesus,
is it really?
Dude.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
I don't look them up before I watch them, man. I just roll with the punches.
Obviously, I feel like you're going to give us the exact same review,
dude. Because it was like
a couple buys a house. It's like, come on.
Okay, technically it's art history, so you're partially correct.
There you go. Cool, because a lot of the story kind of revolves around him and art. But anyways, this guy buys the house. The couple goes and lives there, and like immediately weird shit starts happening, just like the other one. But this one definitely has a more like ghost feel to it. Like she sees like ghostly, like floating things and
apparitions,
finds rings, and finds all this weird shit. So she starts looking into history.
In it too. from
Who is?
Stranger Things. Natalia Dyer from Stranger Things.
Yes. And
Who is she in Stranger Things?
She is the pretty teenage girl.
Yeah.
The one you need to feed a sandwich to?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
She's a little skinny.
Barb. Yeah, she was friends with Barb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Barb died in the first one, and she's the better reference. Like, but anyways, and so it turns out, there's a history of murder in the house, so it's haunted. And then on top of that, it turns out the husband, is a complete psycho. So as you start to find out through the rest of the movie, like, he murdered his cousin when he was young and stole some shit from him, and then he got in trouble at his old job for some reason or another. So he faked his recommendation letter to the new school that he's teaching out in the middle of nowhere, because he thought no one would look it up. And then they ultimately find out, and his boss is F. Murray Abraham from Mythic Quest. And and he totally likes him, and then he finds out that he lied. He's like, look, man, he's like, I like you, you're a good guy, but you gave us a fake recommendation letter, which is plagiarism and totally against the law, so we have to fire you. And he's like, cool, well, let's go out on your boat and talk about it. And then he murders F. Murray Abraham. And then he murders his wife. And it's like he's almost getting away with it. And then some woman that was starting to figure shit out that he tried to kill and put into a coma just wakes up, and all of a sudden it's just over because she solves everything. Like, it was the worst ending. It was just like the weakest ending. It was just like, hey, I don't
know why you sit through these films. You're always I gotta finish it.
Yeah, I do it so no one else has to.
Oh my god. You should
cool.
be like, when you sit through these films, you should make it a rule that you have to watch something good immediately after. Like, you have to.
It's porn.
No. Something that you can bring to the show. That's good, because
it'll just change the show.
You watched it, and we're like, at least you had a visual thing. We have to sit here and listen to you talk about it.
Right, dude.
It's murder.
It is. Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrendous. So on to something that is not quite as bad. Okay. I'm working my way up here.
Moving on up.
I watched. I have AMC Plus, so I watched the season premiere of Walking Dead, the final season. I watched that a little early. I think it actually drops tomorrow night for the general public.
The peasants.
Yeah, the peons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those with dare I say it, cable.
Yeah.
A basic cable, you bitches. It was not a bad episode. It did open with some shockingly bad, like, green screen work in the beginning of the first episode, which I was like 11 seasons into a show that AMC has basically, alongside Breaking Bad, has built their brand on, right? Like, it's one of the biggest shows on AMC, period. I was really surprised at how bad the green screen looked in the beginning. And but other than that, it was a decent episode of The Walking Dead. It was very predictable. It opens with a scene where you're putting characters that you just know can't die into into bad situations and trying to make it seem tense. And it's not very tense if you're just like that. Carol can't die. It just can't happen. So you're just like, okay, well, let's finish this scene and move on to the next one.
Do you know she can't die because she's getting her own show? Is that what you mean by that?
They're getting a Carol and Daryl show. So yes, I don't know exactly when that takes place. They did a time jump like 2 seasons ago, so it could take place in the middle of that. I don't know. But it just didn't feel like the people that were in there. There was too many people that were too important, and I can't see them killing off Carol as a character in the beginning of this season when they have 24 episodes.
There's 24 episodes this season?
Yes, they're finishing the last season with like all of the episodes. I really expected like 8 or 12, and I looked it up on IMDb, and I was just like, "Fuck, man!"
I
really wanted to watch it. I wanted to watch it because it's the last season, but
that's like 3 final seasons of Game of Thrones.
Right.
I saw a trailer for the final season, and it might have been the worst trailer I've ever seen, like by a professional network for a show that's as big as The Walking Dead is. It was 4 characters who I don't even know if I know who any of them are. And then just a bunch of like still shots, like flashing quickly of like zombies and then like people in suits. And then it was like the final season. I was like, that trailer was horrible. Like if I like, I mean, I guess basically, I think
it's
they figured
pretty
at this point.
That's pretty indicative of the last couple of seasons. There's been
They're just letting the interns have a go.
No,
Like,
you know what it is?
Yeah, student
We
projects.
got 24 episodes. Just get in on it. Let the PAs fucking run wild.
It's like
seriously.
like Bad Batch or Clone Wars. There's just too many fucking episodes of this show. Like if they cut down everything into at least half and just made better episodes and fewer of them, it would be a much better show. But they just it's rarely uplifting. Like it's just kind of a down, depressing show. And I think if I hadn't caught up on most of last season already before, last year, and then found out this was the last season, I probably wouldn't have watched anymore. I probably would have just stopped. Yeah. But knowing that I had like 3 episodes to go and then the final season, I was like, I just want to see what they do. And apparently it's going to take me, 4 years to finish it because it's 24 episodes. But
it'd take you a whole day.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 24 consecutive weeks, my friend.
No, it is not. So
no way.
And you may not have power, so you'll have to wait and watch a bunch later. So it's going to take you even longer.
I just say cut to a year from today. So the second
so we're 3 episodes to go.
Of The Walking Dead season 11 premiere was last night. So I saw that. Yeah. So only got 15 more episodes to go.
Right. Yeah. So fun stuff.
All right. Well,
then again, moving up the ladder.
Yeah,
I
finished. Man, you're like, are your calves sore? Because you're going really slow.
Yeah,
you're not taking big steps at all.
Nope. No, actually, this one is. So this is the Superman and Lois season finale. I
haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched it. You're probably the only person that really cares.
Yeah, I do.
But
care.
It was good. It was
a fantastic show.
Yeah, it really is. It finished strong enough and actually ended. I wouldn't call it necessarily a cliffhanger, but ended on something that makes the next season really interesting.
I think I'm only one behind. Is there 14 episodes this season?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm up. I think I watched 13. I just haven't watched the last one yet.
But yeah, I would say,
judging by your list here, Alex, there's no way you would have had time.
That's right.
Stuff you watched in the last 2
3
weeks.
things that he watched.
So so don't beat yourself up about it.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah. He's got the Pete excuses. Oh, I just didn't have time.
But I had plenty of time. I'm not making excuses. I just didn't watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a great season finale. I won't say too much about it because we've talked about the series itself a lot, and Alex hasn't seen it. But I think it should. Supposedly on the CW app, the entire season is there. So if you have Apple TV and the CW app and you're curious, you should be able to catch the whole thing.
It's on Hulu as well, but I think they've gotten rid of a lot of the older episodes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I've been watching
it's excellent. I really do believe that he's probably the best, one of the best, at least Supermans that we've had.
You know what I think it is I would agree with you, but I think also they're the best Lois and Clark together. They're just hands down. Like they're
for sure.
There's been never a better pair. Like
better than Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
Well, I don't know. That one's tough to beat. Yeah. No, just yes,
never
very
much
that.
So.
Oh, you didn't watch Lois and Clark?
I've never watched any Superman TV show. For me, growing up, the Christopher Reeve Superman, I was like, that was it for me. That was
I get that.
Like I never watched Smallville, I never was interested at all.
I think you won't find somebody that does a better like positive Superman other than maybe Christopher Reeve compared to this guy. Like his Superman is light, when he needs to be, like he's got a sense of humor. He's incredibly likable. Even as Clark Kent loves to be Superman. Like he likes to help people. like that's his thing, right? And that was always Christopher Reeve. He was like, oh shit, somebody's in trouble, like he
Unlike
was excited
Cavill,
to go.
who was like, I'm fucking busy. Hold on, I'm putting it in order.
Yeah, he
like,
killed
Well,
thousands.
he's like, I'm gonna
people.
destroy an entire city.
Yeah, I'm gonna punch Zod through the skyscraper and kill everyone inside.
And then, then burn his head off.
Damage.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, got to take care of that fucking Wayne Tower too. That
sorry. So what you want me to do is nothing. Let's see how that pans out. Go ahead, Zod.
Yeah.
Get back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Ending humanity, by all means.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's just floating in the air like sipping tea.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted.
Yeah, sorry.
DC has derailed us again.
I know. Fucking DC.
But yeah, no,
asshole.
it is a fantastic show. But like everybody on it's good too. Like I think it was like 2 episodes ago. There's Lana's husband. He was really unlikable for a long time for me.
Yeah. Kyle.
And
for sure.
And they did an amazing job like turning him around. They gave him a few minutes in there, and all of a sudden you're like
the post brainwash episode, right?
Yeah. And
that was really good.
Yeah.
I felt the exact same way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I actually posted on Twitter about it. I was like, I'm really impressed that you could take a guy that, you make people not like, and then within an episode, make him very sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
It's an impressive show especially for being on the CW. If you like Superman at all, I recommend it to just about anybody.
For sure. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Stop being a curmudgeon.
Yeah. God damn it, old man. Just watch the show.
Bah humbug.
I like the shows that I watch, and I got to watch.
Speaking of shows you watch, I watched Lovecraft Country, or the second half of Lovecraft Country, it looks like, based solely on the fact that you started watching it, Obi. And I was like, fuck, I never finished that. And I figured if you were going to talk about it, I might as well finish it.
So we finished it.
Yeah, and it was a show, man. It was a trip. It was really out there. It was very
let's see. Alex, you haven't seen it. David, you've seen it or part of it?
I've seen a good chunk. I want to say I saw like 5 episodes. I don't know how many there are total.
There's 10.
I didn't finish it.
There's 10.
There's
10 episodes.
So I made about halfway through. I was watching it with my family, and then they stopped watching it. And then as soon as they stop watching something, it's always harder to get to that, get back to it. So I never did, and I didn't make it a priority either. So, is it worth finishing? Is the second half?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say so. It's
really interesting. It's really interesting.
I would almost say, just from the way that I watched it, having taken several months off before finishing it, I might almost suggest going back and starting over and then finishing it.
Yeah, might as well.
It's such a weird show, and so much bizarre stuff happens that if you lose track of some of those things, it's a little confusing for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. If having known about it, watching it through again, you'll probably pick up on things a little easier. But it's good. Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. I also like the aspect that's kind of like takes place in like during a specific time in history, and they reference the Tulsa riots.
Yeah, that's a good episode
and stuff like that. So I mean, it's just they did a good job with it. It was one of those, like, we kind of, once we got going, we kind of got through it pretty quick.
Yeah, because I think I watched 5 episodes in the last 2 days between yesterday and today.
Yeah, so it's a good show.
It is a good show. It's very kind of like Watchmen. It's very racially charged. It definitely leans into the whole Black experience, which I think is a good thing a lot of the time, because being that none of us are even remotely Black, there's a lot of things that we don't know about, and history, right?
Yeah. I'm just light skinned. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth right now. But like, there's a whole lot of stuff that is normal for them and in their history that we don't know about. And then it took Watchmen and this show to really get people talking about the Tulsa massacre and all that stuff. So I think they're, in their own way, they're actually important shows too. I think the biggest bummer is that this show was canceled by HBO. It's not going to get a second season. And
but
I think
it also
it's definitely
got
worthy of a second season.
It got a slew of Emmy nominations.
Yeah, it got a ton.
And so and the way it ended, it certainly didn't end as if it was expecting to be canceled, because it definitely had a place it could go into from.
I was reading about it today. It sounded like they were going to jump ahead a little bit, and it was going to be about their son. So it's going to be about George or Atticus Jr. or whatever it said in the thing.
George,
and then the girl, the Dina, something like that. The one with the arm.
Oh yeah.
And then a few other existing characters. So they had a plan, like the writer was working on it, but now instead the writer and the main girl, Journey Smollett, are now doing a Black Canary movie in the DCEU. So if you watch Birds of Prey, she played Black Canary in Birds of Prey, and they're going to make that into a solo movie.
Oh, cool.
So
she was good.
She was good.
I actually like her a lot. Knowing the writing in Lovecraft Country, I like that a lot. I also feel like knowing who those actors and writers are and what the DCEU has been doing, it'll probably be too dark for a comic book movie. I probably won't like it, but it'll be interesting to see. I like her a lot, actually.
She's good. She's good in Friday Night Lights.
Oh, I never watched that.
Oh, she's in that. She was good.
So, and then do I have one more thing on my list? Oh yeah, just tonight I watched the new Hugh Jackman movie, Reminiscence. It's on HBO Max right now. It's in theaters, I believe. It's got him and Tandy Newton and Rebecca Ferguson, and it's good, not great. For what it is, it's really interesting. It's set in the future, and the world's kind of been ravaged by global warming. So the water's all risen. So Miami's sort of like the ground levels of Miami are all underwater. So it reads a lot more like Venice than Miami, right? Like everybody gets around by boat to different buildings and such.
Just in Miami?
That's where it takes place. I assume the rest of the world's like that. It doesn't really cover that. It never leaves Miami.
It's probably just Miami, and they're too stupid to fucking leave.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's true.
They just assume.
That's definitely the case.
If it's water,
like, it's like
here,
this
it's
everywhere.
Water everywhere.
Like the next state over, they're like, no, it's fine here. Like, no.
Y'all watching that bullshit on CNN saying the rest of the country's still dry? Fuck that.
But it's weird too, because it's very much like almost like a film noir movie. Like he does a lot of voiceover, which at first bothered me until I like really settled into it being a film noir film, even though it's not set in the future. Which is, it's like this weird.
That's the twist,
right? Yeah. So, but it's very much a detective kind of film. Yeah. So the idea is that at some point the military was using this machine as a not quite a torture device, but to get information out of people. So you put them in this tube, and then you could read their memories, right? So you could have them play back memories, so you could get information out of them. And now that wars are kind of over for the time being, they're using it a little more recreationally. And so they're, people are just kind of reliving their memories, kind of like movies or whatever. And so this woman shows up, and she's like, hey, I don't have anything major. I just lost my keys and I want to figure them out. Well, she comes in, and it's Rebecca Ferguson, who's super hot. And Hugh Jackman's like, yeah, you're super hot, so I'm going to let you do that. And so he helps her find her keys, and it kind of unravels this whole it starts to unravel this big mystery around her. And I don't want to give too much away. It's definitely a little odd at parts, and it starts slow, but it's good enough at the ending to give a watch. I don't know. It didn't blow me away. Like, it wasn't the best movie I've watched all year by any stretch, but it wasn't a bad movie. The acting is good. I like Hugh Jackman. He's solid. Danny Newton is his kind of business partner. She's really good. She's not in it enough to be a major character. It's really about him and him kind of chasing Rebecca Ferguson around. But it's really interesting, and it's got a good little twist near the end that makes it interesting, and I at least recommend it. So
at the very least, 6.0
compared
on IMDb.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that a pass, buddy. Sorry.
I definitely go higher than that. I wouldn't give it like a 9 or a 10, or maybe even an 8, but a 7 for sure.
Well, there you go. All right,
finally fucking done. 6 hours later.
Yeah, that's our show.
24 episodes later, I'm done.
Pete, why don't you go next? I see you can probably skip the top 3 and start on that little picture behind you,
which I'm actually excited to hear about.
Yeah,
so I'm excited to hear about it, but interested.
There's a new series on Starz called Heels. It's all about a small Georgia wrestling like corporation. It's based out of this town, and it's actually really, really good. Stephen Amell, who played Green Arrow, I think.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Who I think David actually kind of bears a striking resemblance to.
Dude, I get that a lot. I think that's a very nice compliment. I don't find it to be true.
It's probably because you're so fucking ripped.
When my beard was short and my hair was short, people used to say that I kind of looked like him as well. Not to steal your thunder.
Yeah, I can see it.
No, we can be twins. That's great.
I love it.
You could go as him to Comic-Con.
Let's touch tips. What?
Sword fight.
What?
That's how we get more of us.
Yeah.
That's our reproductive process. We're just docking with each other.
That's right. They just touch tips, and then like a spark happens, and like a new Stephen Amell clone pops out.
One of his stunt doubles.
Right.
Anyways,
wow.
Continue, Peter.
When it goes silent, that's when you start.
Yeah, if we could steer away from more dick touching, that'd be great.
Wait, what?
My bad.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention the last 10 minutes.
You're off the show.
Touch all the dicks. Go ahead.
I thought that's why we have to do this by Zoom now, because you kept trying to fucking touch everyone's dick.
You just hear in the old episodes, just all of a sudden there's just like a little noise.
Just walk around. Why Kevin fucking moved to Connecticut?
Yeah, it's like it was court ordered.
Yeah. He was 3,000 miles is farther than it sounds.
I mean, we don't want to stop doing the show. I mean, the show's the show. You know, it's fun, but I can't keep.
You get a little uncomfortable when I'm in the room.
It's only fair.
Yeah,
it's the only way this relationship works.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, David. You missed a lot.
I never got a full show. By the time I came and started doing stuff, Alex had already been creeped out enough to head south, and
Kevin followed shortly after.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
it's the struggles of this wrestling corporation in trying to maintain solvency in a, as one of these like small market local things. Stephen Amell is actually the son of like a kind of a big time wrestler in the area who like his dad owned the thing, and his brother's the other big wrestler in the thing, and they kind of play the heel and the face off of each other. It's really cool. Like if you almost in some ways likening it to Glow, it's got a way different feel, but it's like you feel that like total amateur wrestling love that it kind of like pushes out of that the early stuff of like, again, just all the local small little wrestling companies that were out there. And it's definitely worth a watch.
It's on Stars.
It's on Stars. There's like one episode out so far. There's already some really good drama. They do a lot in the first episode of kind of, you don't want to say educating you about wrestling, but just like they did with Glow, this is what I was trying to say, is that it goes over the whole, kayfabe and heels and faces and how they turn and like just kind of the background of the wrestling, world and the way that actually works. And it's really good. Again, one episode, so I'm not 100% ready to say it's really, really good, but so far with this one episode, I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Is this kind of like post-weekly thing, or are all the episodes available right away?
No, it's a weekly show, because it is on like Stars, the channel, so I streamed it that way. But
you need to keep people subscribing for an extended period of time.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. I'll have to wait till the end of the next Outlander season, so then we'll get it for that, and then I'll watch this while my wife is watching that.
There you go.
And then we'll cancel. That's our plan. We always wait till the end of that season, get it for a month, watch it, and then go, okay, bye, Stars.
I really like Alexander Ludwig, so I was kind of curious to see his next project, because he was Bjorn in Vikings, and he's fucking awesome in that show. He's the long-haired.
So he's the younger brother.
He's the younger brother.
Who's the face. He's really good. I didn't see Vikings, but he's
fucking awesome in Vikings, dude. Like, if you haven't watched Vikings, watch Vikings. It's fucking amazing. Well, the last season's a little like, but like up until then, it's really, really good. I gotta say it.
I will say
it. I'm sorry.
And so I think that actually does then Vikings, and then the Arrow kind of background for these guys, I think lends to it, because they're doing the actual wrestling
sure
in the show. Like, it's not, there's no kind of stunt doubly stuff at all. Like, they look like they could be wrestlers. Like, they sell it really, really well.
Yeah.
Like, I could buy either one of these guys as a professional wrestler, like in the WWE right now, or WCW, or whatever the hell is left.
That's a real high bar.
Yeah, well, that's part of what the show. No, but that's part of what the show actually talks about, because the brother is kind of shopped to move out of this realm and into the next level. He's getting recruited, by the best friend of their dad, who went off to be, big time professional wrestler. He seems like a weird cross between like Jimmy Hart and kind of Honky Tonk Man.
Like, well, it has an 8.1 on IMDb, so
it's
solid.
It's
cool.
really good.
It looked cool.
I'm excited to see where it goes. Then I took the plunge, and I took a look at Discovery Plus. Yeah, no, it is kind of a plunge, because it's kind of like, if you're okay, so I'm holding on to cable still, because there's still just a comfort in the way old cable works. I've always had it. I always like having all these channels, because of it.
It's okay.
God damn it.
It's like therapy right now.
I know.
I need it.
Discovery Plus fills in all, like, everything that anything else doesn't have in terms of those, like, kind of basic Well, no, it covers. Did you
find happiness?
So you got Magnolia Network, which is an exclusive thing to that. That's
Chip and Joe.
Yeah. And then you got HGTV, Food Network, TLC, and you dip into ID, OWN, the Travel Channel, A&E, History, Animal Planet,
You've listed
Lifetime,
so many channels I don't give a shit about.
DIY.
That's all the Discovery Plus.
This is all on Discovery Plus.
That's honestly really impressive how many channels.
Yeah, it's a ton.
Okay, better than that. So I took some time and dug around the Food Network a little bit. Other than Paula Deen, it has every episode of every show. You got 19th season of Alton Brown's Good Eats. And if you're a fan of that show, it's like, or you like Food Network, this is really cool, because you can go back and watch anything now that they've done. And there's a ton of shit in there. But then you've also got a glut of crap, like TLC, the Learning Channel, for some reason, should just be called My Big Fat Family with 600 pounds of 90-day weddings. Like it's all.
That's a good name for a show.
Yeah, it's the worst in reality TV.
Well, it makes sense. You have a bunch
there.
of fucking cooking shows and eating shows, and then you got a fucking bunch of fatty shows.
But it's so far it's really cool, and they're doing their own programming, which leads me into my next one on there, which is Well Done with Sebastian Maniscalco. Is one of the first original things that they've done for it. If you like Sebastian Maniscalco's comedy, you'll love this show. It's really fun because he goes right into it, how he's not a foodie, but he loves food. And so so far there's only like 4 episodes out, but he like tries to do first episode, he tries to go fishing because he wants to see if catching your own fish, skinning it and doing all that makes it better. He gets completely seasick and spends the entire boat ride while his friend and the 2 other guys are catching fish, just like lying on the deck after throwing up. And
so
like,
spoilers, it doesn't make it better.
Not for him. But it's a fun show.
All right.
You know, if you like food shows and you like Sebastian Maniscalco, you'll love this. Then I guess, the only other thing I watched other than our usuals is 9 Perfect Strangers, which I actually watched today. I watched, the first 4 episodes that are out.
3.
Is it 3? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This show is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, so far it's pretty.
It is like hooked from the
heard of
first
it. What is
Melissa
it
McCarthy and who else?
It's Nicole Kidman, McCarthy,
Bobby Cannavale,
Michael Shannon.
Where is it?
It's on Hulu.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. It's based on a book by the same lady who did
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
No, it's Melissa McCarthy and Bobby Cannavale. The 2 of them together. I could watch a show just the 2 of them with these 2 characters fucking interacting. It's hilarious.
It's a good show.
It's definitely worth watching. It's a total mystery, so I'm not going to give anything away as to the way it builds. Just that all these it focuses on these different people, and they're going to this like spa getaway. Called, I think it was like Equilibrium, or it's a really weird name.
Yeah.
But there's
Tranquillium or something.
Tranquillium,
like
yeah. There's a really weird mystery about Nicole Kidman and what's going on there. They really give you little bits and pieces of each character in different ways and kind of plug them all in, so you're finding more out about each character.
Sounds
each
like
episode.
Lost.
Sure.
He wouldn't know. He wouldn't know.
It's this show is easily one of the best things I've watched on TV.
I'll have to ask the wife
forever.
because she's the only one I know that's watched Lost, and she's watched this with me. I'll ask her if this is sounds like Lost. Or
Based on
like
his
Lost
explanation, anyway, like just how it explores each character per episode in like different ways. Like that just reminded me of Lost.
Well, no, it doesn't. I'm not saying it like focuses on one character. It just, each episode they build, like every character has a little bit more that they add, and it brings out a little bit more of a mystery.
It's called,
so it's like a TV series.
It's a progression,
characters.
So
but it's
a little bit more developed each episode, so you learn a little bit more. It's the story keeps going. It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
So it's a definite watch.
No, it is definitely.
I don't want to give anything away because it really does.
The first 3 episodes
I saw a pretty long trailer for it right before it came out that I'm sure it doesn't give anything away, but definitely makes you curious about what the fuck is going on with Nicole Kidman's character.
Oh,
like she can, just from that trailer, you're like, this chick is shady. There's some weird
I also
shit
heard
going
that she stayed in character the entire time she was on set.
Oh wow,
really?
Yeah. So if you watch this character, it'd be like,
wow.
Okay. So yeah. But yeah, it's a good show for sure.
Yeah, but this is like such the stupidest nitpicky kind of complaint. They've reset it in kind of California, and they make it feel like it's they make you almost kind of feel like it's in Big Sur or something like that. But they film it in Australia, where the book is originally based, and the type of trees and some of the scenery that they show you, if you're from Northern California, you kind of look at it and you're like, that's not California.
It's a fucking eucalyptus tree and a koala bear.
Right. No, there's like a big tree that like Bobby Cannavale's taking a piss at one point that you're just like, that's not in fucking California. I've never seen a tree like that anywhere in California. And that's like
botanical gardens.
Yeah, right. It's like the stupidest little nitpickiest thing. That's the only thing at all that I did not like about this show.
I didn't even notice that. I don't pay attention to that kind of thing unless they make a specific reference to it.
I only watched it I only noticed it in the opening scene when they're doing like the big flyovers of the area and giving you the landscape stuff. And they say it's like Cabrillo, the made up town of Cabrillo, California. And it
then it could be a made up tree in Cabrillo, California.
Exactly.
They have that tree. There you go. That's why you haven't seen it.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely fucking watch it. It's just fucking good.
Cool.
Yeah. All right then. Moving on.
All right. Well then, I'll go through a few things here because I have a few on my own that I'll just skim through pretty quickly. The first one on my list, in that case, would be The White Lotus. Kind of blew through this series on what was it, HBO?
HBO.
Are you done?
Max,
Are you done already?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
I'm only 2 episodes in, but
is it already done? Like this season?
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
It was a good show. Connie Britton, Jennifer Coolidge, Daddario, Alexandria Daddario. She's
I
know she's in it.
But no, it's interesting. It basically kind of focuses around I'd say maybe 4 main characters, or a family and a couple, and a massage therapist / Jennifer Coolidge, who is just she's playing a very Jennifer Coolidge character, but does a really good job in my opinion. But yeah, it's I thought it was well done. It was kind of want to hate some characters, you kind of hope that things happen to other characters, and but yeah, we kind of went through this one pretty quick.
I was excited to see Steve Zahn and something. He hasn't been around in a little bit.
Yeah, he was good. He did a good job with his part, so I definitely would recommend it. It's it's definitely worth watching. It's very quick, 7 episodes. But I mean, they go by really. It's very entertaining.
Was it a mini series, or is there going to be a season 2?
There's going to be a season 2, but it's a different resort and different people.
Oh, okay, that's how they're handling it.
Yeah.
So yeah, because given this, I don't know how they could make that. How they could make it make sense, or why. Why would you do it?
Yeah.
So cool. Let's see. It's The White Lotus. Where's my list? Every year around this time, at the beginning of the NFL season, HBO debuts their show Hard Knocks, where it basically follows a team through training camp and kind of just gives you insight and stuff. And this year it's the Dallas Cowboys again. They've been the focus of Hard Knocks a few times already. But it's really interesting. I mean, I love football, so I really don't care about the Cowboys, but it's always just interesting to see the inside of how practices are, what they do in meetings, all that kind of stuff. So if you are a fan of the NFL, you likely already know about Hard Knocks, but it's the Cowboys this season, worth a watch. But yeah, so that is back. I think there's 2 episodes in already. So yeah,
on HBO.
Yeah, it's HBO. All right, now another thing. I just started doing this, and I don't know why. It's like, I'll try this. I'm going to watch every episode of SNL.
Oh fuck!
So,
wow.
Yeah.
See you in 10 years.
Oh, dude, I'll jump in on that
because they're on. I think they're on.
It's on Hulu. It's on Peacock.
It's on Hulu.
Oh,
Peacock.
Hulu?
That's on Peacock.
Yeah.
So I've watched the first 2, already. And when and my goal
Two of
is
what 3,718.
who knows?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
What air date were those? Did you?
1975 is when
Jesus
it
Yeah.
Christ.
yeah.
Damn.
So I
Paul Simon dressed as a turkey and shit.
well, that's later on, but
Yeah.
but my intention is to sit and watch the entire thing, including the musical guests and all that kind of
Wow.
thing. So far I have, and I gotta say it's crazy because the beginning, like the first couple episodes, there's not a lot of sketches. It's a lot of music. Like the first one is hosted by George Carlin, and it's basically he was actually like a host. He came out, he kind of said some jokes, this and that, and then they've introduced a musical actor or somebody. And someone I hadn't heard of, they did their song and whatever, and then comes back, and then maybe a sketch or maybe a pre-tape like movie. Albert Brooks has like a little short film segment on there. Jim Henson's Muppets are on it, and they have their own kind of like a monster, kind of dragon style thing going on, this scene, and they did that in the first 2 episodes. So it's kind of like so it's very interesting to see what he did. The second one was hosted by Paul Simon, and in the hour and like 5 minutes as the episode is, Paul Simon did like 6 songs, and Art Garfunkel came out and did 2 of them with him. This other lady sang a couple songs. Is like so many musical, interludes. There's like maybe 2 sketches. The only thing that was the same on both of them is that Chevy Chase had his weekend update segment that he did both times. So this next one is hosted by episode 3 is hosted by Rob Reiner. So this will be the first actor that is hosting. And so I'm curious to see if he's going to be involved in any sketches, if there's going to be more sketches or what have you. So all those classic sketches, I'm like, when do they start getting into that? Because like that's right. Andy Kaufman also was in the first episode. He did his little,
Mighty Mouse thing.
Yeah, the Mighty Mouse thing. So
who's the cast in the first season?
They're not ready for primetime players. That's got you got Jane Curtin, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Lorraine Newman, and Gilbert Morris. Garrett Morris.
Garrett Morris. Not Jane Curtin yet. She was 80s.
Jane Curtin. I said her first. Jane Curtin.
Oh, did you?
Yep. So those were the original 7.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm curious to see, what have I seen before? What haven't I seen? So the first episode, I had seen the first sketch before. I've seen that lots of times.
You got the prior episode coming up soon too.
So there's so I'm gonna start going through that just to see.
Good luck.
I'll make it. It'll take a long time, but I'll make it. I'm a big fan of SNL as it is. So, once it starts, I'm really curious about the 80 to 85 when Lorne Michaels wasn't at the helm. So I'm curious to see what that's with Eddie Murphy and Piscopo and stuff, but it really, will change. So so I've seen a lot of what I'm gonna be as it gets on. A lot of it I've seen already, but it'll be fun to revisit all that and be like, oh shit, that was back then, and that was all these references that'll be cool. So
I was a fan of it in the 80s too.
Yeah,
like as a kid.
That's why I picked it up, and then I think maybe the early 90s, late 80s was when I picked it up, and then I've always watched it since then, pretty much. So we talked about Nine Perfect Strangers already. Right before this, I watched the first episode of Mr. Corman with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's on Apple TV Plus. He plays a elementary school teacher, 5th grade teacher, who by I've only seen the first episode. It looks like there's a couple that are out already, or maybe 3 or 4. Basically, it looks like he wanted to be a musician, ended up not working out, so now he's a elementary school teacher, and basically he's just trying to figure out what he needs to do or what he wants. It's a comedy drama, and the first episode was pretty good. It's interesting. He does a good job. I think he wrote and directed it, and also created it, I think. So it's pretty good, worth a watch. One actor that was in it that I was surprised to see was Deborah Winger. Hadn't seen her in a long time. And it
Well,
took
she
me
was
a minute to
on
place
she was
her.
on The Ranch.
Oh, is she?
Ashton Kutcher and
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see that. Well,
that show's fucking good too.
They
Yeah,
aged
especially in the
her
beginning.
in this though. In this, she's aged, and so it took me a minute to place her. But
yeah, she's not young anymore. That's for sure. She's
No.
well, yeah, but she's
But
also
at least on the ranch, she did like they don't try and make her look younger.
no,
Like she's playing her age completely.
because she's Sam Elliott's ex-wife. So
Yeah.
you don't de-age Sam Elliott.
So let's see. I think that's near the end here. Oh yeah. So then the only other thing outside of my franchise movie of Lethal Weapon 4 is we went and saw Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds and Jodie Comer. And anyone else has seen that?
I think David saw that too,
Yeah,
right?
I saw it.
All right. I liked it. I thought it was good. Thought it was funny. A couple of things I didn't like about it, but they're more or less just, I think, I don't know, either choices that the actor made or the story, or the type of character. But overall, I thought it was interesting. Not, obviously not being a big gamer, I could appreciate that, but my kids, funny enough, like my 10-year-old and 13-year-old catching these references. I had no idea.
Well, they had a bunch of actual streamers, YouTubers.
That's what they were saying. I was like, oh,
yeah. So
no
I mean,
idea.
they had a bunch of legit people from that world in the film, and they were in there seamlessly. They looked normal to the adults, but the kids were like, "Holy shit! Hey, look at that guy!" And yada yada. My daughter knew who a bunch of them were. I had no fucking idea.
No idea. Exactly. They're talking about it on the way. I was like, those were real. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So
it was like Ninja and PewDiePie.
But I thought it was a good introduction of Ryan Reynolds to my kids, because I'm dying. I was like, there's so much content you have no idea that you need to see.
Like Blade.
This
3.
one was definitely family friendly.
He's the only good thing about Blade 3.
That's not.
I kind of like Blade 3. Blade 3 is kind of fun. It's not
Wolverine
awful.
Origins.
Wolverine Origins
masterpiece.
I more or less agree. I really liked it. I thought it was so much better than the trailer let me believe I was.
I agree.
Go see.
Yeah, I think it's better than
That's
the trailer.
good.
I thought the trailer looked kind of a little two-dimensional, and then you get in there right away, and then you find out it's kind of something totally different, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm really liking this direction, and I thought it was
message
great
within it for sure. I think the message within it was really good.
My wife wanted to see it again in the theater. My wife never wants to see anything again in the theater. So that I thought was a fairly glowing review for this film. It was fun. It was energetic, and it was.
What else is it on right now? It's in the theater, and
I think
it's only in the theater.
No, it's only in the theater.
Okay.
But yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Worth the price of admission at the very least.
Jodie Comer is great. If you like,
I love her. She's great.
She's really good in this. I like Lil Rel. He's good in this. And
Tycho was in it. He was kind of a little over the top for me.
Tycho?
Yeah.
Tycho. Yeah, Tycho. Yeah, that's the only thing I was kind of like, what? I didn't know that was him. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, that was Taika Waititi.
And so
it's a very unique looking man.
Yeah.
So it's just, but that would have been one of my only critiques. But otherwise,
same. I didn't love him. I thought he was a bit of a miscast, or he was played weird. I don't know. That character could have been better. So,
and this is officially a Disney film now too, right? Disney owns this because they're going to do a sequel.
Oh yeah, that's real obvious by some of the things that they put in the film. And you're just like, you're watching, and then all of a sudden they do some stuff, and you're like, oh shit, how'd they pull that off? And then you're like, oh, Disney owns them. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, there's some cool little things that happen in there that are kind of like one, I was like, how was this not leaked? And and two, it's just like well placed. My kids were like, I looked over at my daughter. She was like huge smile on her face. She thought that was the coolest thing, that kind of stuff. So yeah,
they didn't just throw them around. They were really well used, but they were still kind of shocking at the same time. You're like,
yeah. And then I guess actually the only not on my list I just thought of a movie I'd seen before, but I just rewatched it was Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams.
That one's fun.
Love that fucking.
It's really really funny.
Fun.
So
I think I saw that.
Yeah. I had to take my our girls to this practice thing, and so sitting in the car waiting, I was watching that on my phone. So real fun. So all right, well, I guess David and Alex. Well, Alex,
just go to David next, since he shared that Free Guy movie with you.
Yeah. So then, anything else on there that's not Schmigadoon, Ted Lasso, or What If?
Yeah. First, I'll just go with I saw Suicide Squad, or The Suicide Squad.
Sorry. Get it right.
And I have officially seen it twice. I saw it once in the theater and then once at home. I really liked it. I thought it was a fun movie. I thought that they got the tone right in a DC movie for once, which they haven't been able to do for a while. Like, they had a consistent tone from start to finish. That was the movie. I don't think it needs to tie into anything else. I think it was just a successful film, maybe franchise, because I guess you count the first one. I don't know. They're very unclear.
It is a sequel.
It is a sequel.
Yeah, even though they kind of said it wasn't, but it also is.
But it also
I think they said that ahead of time because no one liked the original one. Yeah. But it's definitely a sequel to that and Birds of Prey.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Oh,
it is?
Yeah,
it feels like it. Yeah.
For sure.
Like, it can stand on its own, but it's for sure a sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to know anything about the other ones, to be honest.
No.
I love that the big monster villain at the end is kind of sympathetic in its own way.
Oh yeah.
They fuck him up, but he was like, "I was just happy floating around in space. You guys are dicks."
Yeah.
Like,
his line of like,
you guys did this to me.
I was happy just looking at the stars or whatever, and you're like, "Aw," like as he's dying, you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it was fun. It's just a silly, fun movie, which I think is what that franchise needs to be. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
it needs to be completely over the top, completely outrageous.
Yeah, and
it's like the adult version of Legends of Tomorrow on CW. It's just ridiculous. You just do crazy shit, and because you can, you don't have to follow the rules that you have to with Superman and Batman, right? Like, those guys are very specific. Yeah.
And I thought James Gunn did a great job. I mean, it felt very Gunn. Like he was all over it. But
what was
it
that the opening song had me like that? That's what hooked me in the beginning.
People Who Died, the Jim Carroll band song.
It was Jim Carroll. Like, right from the jump when they were going through that, I was just like,
when I was in the theater and that came on, I had the biggest grin on my face. I listened to the shit out of that song when I was younger. It was such a good song.
Basketball Diaries came out.
Yeah. And so it came on and I was like, oh shit. Now I watched it with my daughter and was very proud when she knew every fucking word to the song and sang along. And I was like, yes, clearly I exposed you to this enough. But yes, Suicide Squad was very good. I also, after your guys' review, went and saw Jungle Cruise, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a dumb, fun movie. It felt very piratesy.
Yeah.
The film would have benefited from not having the guy from Breaking Bad be the Austrian prince who was trying to, or whatever.
The German guy.
The German, that whole character and the thing was just terrible.
Who plays him?
He was the kid from Breaking Bad in the later seasons, the one who kills I forget what his name is. He's also in El Camino, where he's like 7 times larger than he was when he was in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Jesse Plemons.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like Matt Damon.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought he was Matt Damon in a few movies.
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah. Matt Damon. Someone has a crush.
He was in Game Night as well. Yeah,
he was.
That's right. Yeah, he was the neighbor.
Bad guy.
Oh, I think that's where I saw him first, and I thought it was Matt Damon. I thought it was Matt Damon in a bunch of makeup playing like a weird character.
No. Yeah, Jesse Plemons. I love him. I think he's great. He's hilarious. I think he's great.
He was not great in Jungle Cruise, in my opinion.
He was not great. He's definitely one of the weakest parts.
It was, and that whole arc of the storyline was not good. And I think my daughter nailed it right. She said what the film suffers from is too many villains. There's just too many bad guys, and it's so ridiculous. Everywhere you turn, it's a new bad guy.
Yeah,
the Spider-Man 3 you're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it. When, in all honesty, the most interesting bad guy in the whole thing was just the river, right? Like that was the most interesting obstacle that they had to overcome. All the other stuff just felt ridiculous. But
it was.
You know, I think it made a ton, and they're gonna probably make, you know, 1 million of these.
Yep.
The Rock and Emily Blunt seem to have like coworker crushes on each other. So
they're doing all these viral videos and
yeah.
I know he specifically, I read an interview with him and he said he has specifically for years been trying to make his own Pirates type Disney movie. And when I read that and then saw the movie, I was like, that's exactly what he fucking made.
You did it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Mission accomplished.
No, he's just trying to make every single dollar he can get his hands on.
Dude, might as well while you're as marketable as he is, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like the most marketable guy on the planet.
And he's also not doing it in just one field. Like he's doing it everywhere. He's, you know, getting into anything he can. He bought the XFL. He's got energy drinks. He's got his own alcohol line. He's got his own production company. He's also doing 9 films a year. I mean, the dude's got to be doing all kinds of crank or something to keep moving.
And somehow he works out for like 7 hours a day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Constantly.
Clearly, he's got to be like hosting meetings while he's lifting weights, and they're just listening to him grunt and yell things at him.
It's just in between takes, he just grabs Emily Blunt and just starts like
just curls Emily.
Yeah. Well, I think the films though are also easy because he's not like the kind of guy that you're gonna like, hey, let's have The Rock come in and read. It's like if you want The Rock, you want The Rock. Like they're picking him and that's it. Like there's no
he's not out there hustling for parts.
Yeah,
he's doing fine. All right, and then also I forgot to mention earlier to you guys pregame show, but that my daughter has roped me into watching the show Outer Banks on Netflix. It's a kind of a teen drama, and I got to be honest, the first
it's got like 3 seasons now, doesn't it?
It's the just finished the 2nd season. I think they've got it slated for a third. Yeah. The first half of the first season was really good. It was like Goonies meets Veronica Mars, and like that was like perfectly kind of describes the show. And it was really fun. And then it just gets a lot more teen drama-y from there, unfortunately. I'm hoping it picks back up and finds a stride. There were a couple of really great episodes in there, but for the most part, it's really just a big teen drama. But yeah, I wish it had continued on the path it had for those first couple of episodes, because the Goonie vibes, the parallels were so bonkers, and I was just like, oh man, I'm into this, even though it's a teen show. Like they did a good job to hook the parents as well, and then they kind of lost that aspect. I guess they figured you'd already committed with your kid that far, you were just gonna keep going. And then I think that's about it. Other than that, I watched all the other things that we've talked about and chimed in.
Why don't you guys all talk about the things that I didn't watch? So like Schmigadoon and
and
Ted Lasso and stuff. Yeah.
All right. So Schmigadoon had its series finale. For all of you now, I don't think, at least right now, it's not slated for a 2nd season. I haven't heard anything, and it would make sense that it didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Yeah, I would hope they don't.
I hope it's not. I hope this is it.
I mean, I could see them doing another musical style show but a totally different cast show.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Like a different kind of musical, because this is a very stylized musical. If they did that, the production company did the same idea, then sure, but not.
Yeah, it would have to be another era. It would have to be like more of the modern stuff, or something.
An entire season of nothing but Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
but it's true. Weber has a very specific style.
Hold
so
the
cats.
Do that. Yeah, hold the cats.
They remake Xanadu, but they're all on skateboards now.
So Schmigadoon, I want to rewatch it as just straight through.
Kind of straight through.
So
like
that's actually movie. I actually did that.
Oh, okay.
Because the girls picked it up like midway through with me. I had watched the first few episodes, and then they were home and I was watching it, and Stella fucking fell in love with it. So we went back and we watched it all the way through. It is much better when you binge it from beginning to end.
I'm sure.
Because
it's like a 6-act play.
Basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's much more coherent when you get to watch it that way. And it's it's really good. I do, again, like we just said, I hope they don't do anything else with it. I hope this is just this one and done little deal, and that's it. Because
how long do you think it's on until it's on Broadway? How long
They'll
do you
have
think
to pare it down pretty far.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't imagine too long, honestly.
Time-wise, they wouldn't.
If not,
time-wise, it's a 3 hours.
Yeah.
If not Broadway, I could see it instantly going into
a tour,
just like a tour, a touring company that does it. I don't think it's strong enough for Broadway.
Oh, I think it is. They've got an Alanis Morissette jukebox musical.
Well, yeah.
I mean, currently their standards are not particularly
remember
high.
that Spider-Man show they're on?
Superman musical?
Schmigadoon is going to be way up there. Like, you're coming in with a known quantity. I can totally imagine seeing that on there.
The only thing about it is it's sort of a parody of Broadway,
which only makes it better.
Yeah,
for sure.
That only makes it even more appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that put in the hands of a Broadway director who has all of the past institutional knowledge, and really work it into the stage, it would be probably amazing.
It'd be fun too, because you could do some some cheesy, corny shit with the scene changes and stuff just to make it fun too.
Yeah.
David, tell the wife to do it next season.
Yeah, she's doing Peter and the Starcatcher. That's what she's doing next. So they're coming in with a half musical. It's the story of how Peter finds Neverland, I guess. But they do have like 6 or 7 songs, but they're all sea shanties sung by the pirates. So,
that's cool.
Interesting.
It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. All right, and then anything else that? Oh wait, no. Next one is so.
No, we didn't even really get to talk about Schmigadoon too much. I thought it was a good show. I thought the last episode for me was a little weak. I mean, they kind of wrap it up real fast and then kind of just skip off into the sunset. And I mean, I guess that's like all musical theater. Which was my thing, but it also still felt fairly rushed.
Well, that's okay. So if you watch, that's the thing though. If you watch it from beginning to end, it almost feels like between each episode is just a set change, even though there's obviously like set changes in the thing.
So the end is much longer than it is.
Yeah, because it goes through, and so you feel that final act, and you're like, oh, this is where there'd be a musical interlude where they'd be sliding this shit in and out, and boom, then they appear at the town hall at the election, and you're like,
boom.
Exit followed chasing a bear. Like it should be watched. This is one that should be binged.
Yeah.
Like it works much better that way. And it worked week to week.
Yeah. They should offer a way to watch it where it is straight through without any.
Just make it a movie.
Yeah.
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 So
call it Schmigadoon in the movie cut.
But yeah, so I liked all the actors in it. I thought they all did a really good job. I like Cecily Strong, and so I thought she did her part really well. I thought Byron, obviously,
Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, Keegan Michael Key. I like this character, but he kind of always plays that character. So I'd say I'd like to have seen him, maybe something different with it, I guess. I don't know.
I think he was cast because that's precisely who they wanted.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I mean, I thought it was well done. I thought it was fine. I thought Jane Krasinski.
Yeah.
Her
Krakowski.
Her one episode. I thought that was hilarious. You know,
Yeah.
just
When she was
figuring out real
driving?
quick. Oh my
She
god,
nailed it.
Yeah.
But then
she's
like
great.
Martin Short's got like billing over her, and he's in the show for like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for one time dressed as a leprechaun, and then he's gone. Like he's like
Fucking
a
Martin
blink,
Short,
you
though.
miss him. Yeah.
You know. But it's like if you had Mickey Rooney though come in and play the fucking, you know, leprechaun in fucking Finian's Wake.
Yeah.
It's a really deep pull here, buddy.
I know.
Well, it was a good show. And then we've got Ted Lasso hanging out behind Peter there.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Ted Lasso.
yes.
So the latest episode was episode 4?
I think it was 5.
5, I think.
Yeah, I think
Five.
4
Rainbow?
4 was the Christmas episode.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
watched. Yeah, we missed 2 on this show in particular.
Yeah.
So we haven't talked about the Christmas special or the rom-com episode.
Christmas
Really
episode
well
was
show.
great. I dug the Christmas episode. I liked the
I-
Higgins
I-
house.
Yeah.
You knew like it's, and this is the thing that about this show that works so well for me. It's so completely predictable, but I didn't care. Like it's done well enough that I didn't care. I knew she was going to fucking find Ted and take him to do something. I knew that the Higginses were like, oh man, nobody's ever shown up. Okay, you're gonna get the whole fucking team at your house. And that's kind of the way that works. Like, you know, that's exactly what's going to happen. I didn't care because it was so well done. It was so fun.
It
felt
was like making it the Christmas episode makes something like that work, right?
Yes.
Like just everybody showing up.
And they felt like, I felt like when all the players were at Christmas and they were like playing Nerf, you know, guns with the kids and everything else, it all felt very real. Like it was all very grounded. Like it felt like they just said at some points, here, run around and fucking play. We're going to film it and see what happens. Like, we know we need to get these shots, but you guys kind of fuck around and let's just roll with it. And like, oh, do that again. Like it was just really fun. And again, like, I almost feel like we don't almost need to talk about the show other than the specifics of the episode, because it's just every week. It's just the same thing. It's like, I feel like it keeps getting better and better.
One of the cool things is, you know, this show is set in England, and this was like the classic British Christmas show. Because like, if you watch British television, they've always got the Christmas show, right?
Yeah.
You've got like 6 episodes in the season plus the Christmas show, and that's like how it always works. So I loved seeing the Christmas show up, and it just felt so British and appropriate for the setting and all of that. I thought that part was great, and then everything else you said.
Yeah, I think so far it's been a great season. Roy Kent is
Roy Kent's killing it.
He's a
Killing
great
it.
character. Great character. You know, I was in a sense liking him to Ron Swanson in terms of like
A little
just
bit,
just the kind of
Sourpuss.
attitude, just, you know, doesn't give a fuck about what anyone thinks or says.
Yet
so it's
somehow weirdly lovable.
yeah, exactly. But completely endearing.
Yeah, like his niece would murder anyone he asked her to.
Oh,
like
yeah.
she would do
Right.
anything for him. Anything.
It's a cool, so it's fun. It's fun to see him see, you know, the show as it's progressing, you know. So
Boy, are you a dentist? I just fucking like
Yeah. I love how he responds to people. They're like, yes. He's like, and then he just fucking he doesn't make
Well, that's
words
the thing.
half the time.
I mean, I guess that could be, you know, accurate based off, you know, the love of football in the UK, to where if like someone that stature to walk around, it's like whatever you need, you know, whoever you are, you know, that kind of thing, where it's like respected. So it's just fun. So so Ted Lasso so far is great.
And they're hinting at something very interesting that I'm not sure how I feel about just yet.
Yeah, I don't.
Because
I
on the
think
one
that's a
hand-
misdirection. I
think
really
it is
think
too.
it's misdirection,
this
because
show.
I thought about it.
No, because
Yeah.
this show. Okay, so that brings us actually to the rom-com episode, which although I wouldn't say it's the best episode of Ted Lasso, it is hands down my favorite episode.
Oh, I loved it.
That's
it
great.
came together. The writing in this show was
Oh.
brilliant.
Yeah.
They lean into every fucking reference
Oh,
and don't
yeah.
even bother acting like they're not. Like it's absolutely perfect.
It's like the movie Hot Fuzz, right? Where they set up, they tell you what all the tropes are, and then they do them. And they did the same thing with this episode.
I love all the stolen lines at the end too, but between him and Roy Kent, so fucking funny.
Yep.
When Roy it felt, and it's so you're watching it and you're knowing it's going to be like a cheesy rom-com when he's walking down the sideline in his fucking suit, like the whole thing was just fucking perfect and beautiful. And I love romantic comedies. So like they pick oh god, yes I do. And this was like the way they used the different references were perfect. They didn't just throw them in to throw them in. They made sense where they put them. They made sense with the ones they used. It's again.
Are you gonna cry? Are you gonna cry?
Okay. But this show better get another fucking 20 Emmy nominations because it's easily the best show on TV in general, streaming or anything across. Like it's serious enough that it's not always super funny, but it's fucking funny enough that you will chuckle, laugh out loud, and like roll over laughing on the floor in each episode. Like there's a whole gamut worth of laughs in each one. And I really dig that about this show. Did I freeze or did you guys freeze? God damn
it. You just did a good job. We didn't need to step on you. Like we didn't need to ruin it. I
love this fucking show. I haven't felt like this about a TV show in a long time.
No, it's great.
I can't wait for every Friday for Ted Lasso. Even more than The Mandalorian. Like I waited on that show with bated breath. I avoided social media. I don't think it's better or worse. Ted Lasso, I can't wait to watch that. Like I've almost stayed up, like done the Thursday night. Oh, it's midnight. Ted Lasso should be streaming now, like, and watch it like that. But it's fun to just wait and watch. And yeah.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of Alex.
What if?
What if? That's right. We have what if. And you have a couple other ones on here. Do you want to chat about that real quick?
And I will transition us into what if. So hold your goddamn horses.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. You know what? We should just text you and let you know when we started recording, and then so you have about a half an hour before you have to come on and actually start talking.
No, it's fine. You guys watch something.
The Alex timeout hour.
I had no input, so I just chilled out, and the cat showed up right on time and entertained me. So there you go.
Watched another show in the meantime, so got more to talk about.
Yeah. Let me just edit my list here real quick. No, mine will be quick because this show's already a decade long. So I'm still plowing through Always Sunny, just doing a new rewatch. I'm up to the newer seasons, and I've only seen those each once, like season 13. 14. I only watched those once, so it's still a little more fresh than some of the older seasons, which I've seen 6 times, 7 times.
Yeah, for sure. I find the same thing. Yeah, when I go to the later seasons, it's like, have I seen this? Okay, I maybe just seen it once, or I thought it was from an earlier season. It's like, oh wow,
yeah. It is kind of funny, like how your brain does that. Like I've seen episodes where I was like, oh, I thought this was way later, or things that showed up way later, like, oh, I thought this was like season 2. And it's just it doesn't make any sense, but it's funny.
Especially when they redo the episodes sometimes, where they do the same dialogue, it doesn't help.
Yeah, they do that on purpose for sure, because they're stuck in their infinite misery. But speaking of Always Sunny, I wanted to bring it up because I follow all the actors on Instagram. They've started filming season 15, so they've started doing some promotional videos on their accounts, which is pretty fun, and some behind the scenes stuff. They're all there, which is great, because I think I'm in season 13 right now, and that's the one where Dennis is less present. And I think that's probably my least favorite season, because their dynamic is amazing, but only if it's really all there, and he wasn't there as much. Okay, so I haven't seen the newer episodes, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine started up again, and I actually decided to start over from the beginning. I'm gonna watch everything, and then by the time I finish, all of the new episodes should be posted on Hulu. So I'll just watch all those at once rather than watching them like 1 week at a time. So I started
They're
Brooklyn
actually
Nine.
doing 2 weeks, 2 episodes per week for
Are they doing
5
2 a
weeks,
week?
and that's it. It's 5 weeks,
Okay.
and they're done.
Okay,
They're
Wow.
just cramming them out.
What season is it?
8.
8. I want
Is
to
that
say
right?
it's 8. I think
Is that
8 is
eight?
correct.
And then how many episodes per season usually?
Usually there's like 22 or 23.
Okay.
Like
I
it's
don't
like
think
one of
this
those
was ever
shows.
a 22 show. I think like it's like a 16.
Well, no, I'm
Yeah,
rewatching
okay.
it right now, and they're like season 1 had 22 episodes,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh.
season 2 I think has 24. Maybe it shortens as it goes on. A lot of
Yeah, I think
shows
it
do
might
that where they're
shorten.
like heavier up front and then they get shorter as they go.
Yeah.
But the first couple seasons are in the 20s. But
Yeah,
it's
season 8.
it's such a good show. The reason I started, because like with the new episodes coming out, there's been a lot of trailers, and then because algorithms and shit, I would see like clips of older episodes on like Facebook or YouTube or something like that, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just start over. The show's great, and it'll be really cool because, like I said, I'll catch up, and by the end, like now, especially doing 2 a week, all the new ones will be there, and then I'll just watch them all. I don't have to like wait, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, they looks like
We were
they're.
s-
Oh, sorry. It looks like they're all like 22 episode season, except till season 6. It goes down to 18. 7 goes down to 13, and then 8 will be 10.
So there you go. So everything up until the last couple seasons, but
Yeah.
that's still a lot in the first few seasons.
Yeah, I used to watch it. I watched it when it first came out, and I don't remember why we stopped watching it. It wasn't because we didn't like it. It was for some reason.
Do you remember what season? Do you remember what season you stopped watching it at?
I don't, but I do remember that. What's her face?
Chelsea Peretti.
Chelsea Peretti. I remember her character really bugged me in the earlier seasons.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. On the second time through, she's way less annoying. I don't know what it is. Maybe because I just know what I'm getting myself into this time, but she doesn't bother me almost at all.
Yeah. Well, I do remember after like a first few seasons, like it's almost like she kind of toned down a bit, or her character made a little bit more sense to the storyline.
Yeah.
But I remember so it got to a point where it was fine. But I don't remember why we stopped watching. I think maybe we just didn't
I think
have
it was
access.
I think it was actually, it might have been, at least for me, I watched, I think, the first 2 seasons complete, and then they did a date change. Like they moved it from like a Monday night to a Thursday night, and there was like something else I was watching, and it just didn't work with something else I was
also
watching.
moved
like,
stations, or because
they were
from-
going to get canceled or whatever, and then they got repicked up, which is super cool.
It was
went from Fox to NBC, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because it was almost like they traded shows because that Tim Allen one went to Fox.
Yeah, Brooklyn's great. I highly recommend it if you've never seen it. It's
funny.
It's a cop show, but it's not like it's ridiculous, and I'm sure there's no precinct in the world that acts anything like this. But if you just if you know who Andy Samberg is and you know his humor, and then you put him in a cop show, this is what you're going to get. And I think it's super fun.
I could watch that clip of him doing the lineup when they all start singing the Backstreet Boys.
The Backstreet Boys, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have some fantastic cold opens. Like some of probably
some
the
of the
funniest.
very best.
Yeah, for sure. Like their cold opens are spectacular. So I'm going through that. I'm almost done with season 2 already, actually. So I'm cooking.
Wow.
And we started our rewatch probably around the beginning of the year. And it's one that I watch, the whole family watches. So we all have to be together to watch it. And we are, I think, in season 7. So
there you go.
We did skip ahead, and we've watched the first 2 episodes of the current season, but not the most recent 2. So I'm a little behind on that.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any new ones yet, but I'll get there, and I will recheck in on that. But But yeah, I mean, it sounds like pretty much everyone here has either watched it or started to and then kind of fallen off of it. I'd recommend just trying it and going back because it's on Hulu. And
the early stuff's funny as hell too. It's
it's really funny. Like this show, I think probably has one of the best, one of the best batches of like consistent characters. Like in a lot of comedies, characters kind of have to find who they are, and it happens usually over the course of like the first season or two. Like these characters are pretty much exactly who they are the whole show, like right away. Obviously there's growth and stuff like that, but you know, like when you watch Always Sunny, like I just went back and it's like Charlie isn't like a crazy illiterate homeless man in the first couple of episodes. He's just like the friend that they kind of pick on a little bit more than everyone else. And Dee is like a totally different character, but like these guys are pretty much like established right out of the gate. And it's nice. Like, you know, it's like going back and seeing the beginning. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone's hitting their marks. So it's.
Who's your favorite character on the show?
Captain Holt is the best character on the show.
Yeah.
There's
Andre Braugher doing comedy like that is
so good.
Amazing.
Yeah, the best thing is that he's so like, he's such the straight man, but when he's not, like when he lets loose and he actually does something like really out of character, it hits so hard. It hits like the one of the earliest examples, because I just watched it, it's like kind of in the beginning of season 2, was when Captain Wunsch had to give him like his medal, and he did like his like Wunsch time is over, boom, had it both ways, no regrets. Like just like the way he delivers his fucking lines is like it. When he kind of like gets to let loose a little bit, it's so good. But yeah, Captain Holt he reminds me a lot of like a Ron Swanson, who's my favorite character from Parks and Rec. So it's like they kind of have a very similar, like kind of that dry, really like kind of manly man sort of a thing, even though Captain Holt's gay and very in touch with his feminine sides in certain ways, but even still, he's such a good character. Yeah, so I'm chugging away at that. And then something not new, but new to me that I watched was I watched the Cloverfield Paradox. So I'd already seen Cloverfield like when it came out. I think I saw it in theaters actually. I really enjoy Cloverfield a lot. And I did see 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah, and those weren't really connected. Like they seemed like they could have been.
Like in the last 5 minutes of it, they were connected, sort of.
Yeah. The last scene is basically where it connects.
Yeah, kind of like and that's what I mean. It's like you don't really know, and they don't like really throw it in your face. And this Cloverfield universe isn't supposed to be like blatantly connected. And so I wanted to check this one out. This was the straight to Netflix movie that they made.
There was a lot of issue with that too. I remember at the time there was something else was supposed to happen with it, and there were some production issues with it at the time, and it ended up just on Netflix.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I just I've had it in my list basically since it came out, and I just never got around to it. And so I finally did, and in the beginning of the show, Kevin, I know you said you were not a huge fan of it.
It had its issues. I don't remember them any. It's actually been a long time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it well enough. I mean, it definitely does have its issues, of course. But I thought it was a really cool way to kind of reconnect the universe. Like this one, by the end, has a very blatant connection to the Cloverfield universe and the Cloverfield monster specifically. Basically it's Earth in, I think it's 2028, I think is when this movie takes place. Resources are becoming very scarce. There's power outages and scares all around the world, et cetera, et cetera. So they basically send up a team of astronauts into a space station, and they're using essentially this particle accelerator to gather energy. They don't really explain the science behind it too much, and I'm honestly fine with that because usually it's like they explain it and it doesn't matter anyway. So I was just like, yeah, whatever, they're doing that and that's fine. That's how the movie gets moving. So okay, here we go. So they go up
so that Neil deGrasse Tyson will mention them.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, yeah. let me tell you how that doesn't work. So yeah, they go up in the space station. They were supposed to be up there for like 2 weeks. It ends up being like 4 years or something like that, and they keep doing these test fires, and it never works. Like, it keeps fucking up, and of course the movie then picks up, and they do their first successful test fire, and then after the test fire works, they find out that because they're orbiting Earth, Earth is just gone. So they're on this space station, and Earth is no longer where it's supposed to be, or they're not where they're supposed to be. They're not quite sure because everything's kind of fucked up. Like, some of the instruments went all haywire. So basically it turns out that this particle accelerator, and they kind of hint at it, it's sort of like a multiverse thing. Like, it actually sends them to a different version of our universe, and in a different location. And it's actually kind of an interesting concept. The universes, rather than just being like one thing transfers to another universe, like going through a portal, it actually is like smashing, like the universes are smashing together. So things are happening on the space station that happened or are happening on the space station in that universe. And so things are like not where they're supposed to be, or there's people that show up on the space station who they don't know, but they're on the space station in that universe. It's really kind of crazy how they do it. It's unique in that sense, because usually it's just like, if there's a multiverse, XYZ person goes from their thing to the other one, and that's it. But in this one, like, it's actually like colliding. And so there are things from one universe, like when the things, I wasn't sure what kind of movie this was going to be. I knew it would have like horror elements and sci-fi elements, but when they first show up, they start hearing this, like, it sounds like a monster's on the space station, like this sort of screeching, and they're like, what the fuck? And so they go over, and it's like behind this panel in the wall, and when they open it up, it's actually like a woman, and she's like trapped in the wall, and like there's wires going through her arms and shit, because in her universe she was somewhere, and then when they kind of fused together and smashed together, she ended up in the wall in their space station. So really kind of crazy stuff starts happening on the space station, because it's not supposed to be there, and it's like messing with the laws of physics and all this other kind of stuff. So I think it's a really interesting take on that concept. It doesn't deliver all the time, but I think that there's some pretty cool stuff happening. And then back on their Earth, they're like, the space station's gone, and they're like, the main character, her husband is still on Earth, and crazy shit starts happening on Earth, and you don't know what's going on. It's just like news reports, and there's cities like being exploded, and they're like, oh my God, because like the resource scarcity, like there was a lot of threat of like war between different countries to get resources. So everyone was like, the war started. And it turns out that the war didn't start. They actually pulled the Cloverfield monster from the universe from the first movie, or at least it seems like it, into that Earth. And so he's there now, and he's like destroying shit on that Earth. So they like reconnect the movies in that way, which is kind of cool. And he's like fucking enormous now, because they even mention in Cloverfield, they're like, they think he's like a baby, like he's like an adolescent, and he's already huge. And in this one, he's like ridiculous. Like, he's bigger than anything I've ever seen. Like, his head's going through the clouds, like basically like in the sky. Like, he's fucking crazy huge. So it all like kind of smashes together, and that's how like the universe is kind of recollide, is it's pulling different elements from different multiverses and smashing them all into like one Earth. So yeah, by the end they do get back, but the Cloverfield monster is still there. So they take an escape pod like down back to Earth, like, yay, we figured it out. And then the Cloverfield monster's like standing right there, and it's like, well, fuck, like, so it didn't really work out in the end. So I thought that I liked it well enough. It definitely, like Kevin said, it has its issues, but I do think that it handled multiverse in a unique and pretty interesting way that wasn't like the typical shit you always see. And I really like Cloverfield, and I like that it finally reconnected it in a much more substantial way. So it's cool. But yeah, there you go. I kind of just spoiled most of it for you, so sorry if you ever planned on watching it, but I figured it came out like 7 years ago. So I figured if you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to. So there you go. But yeah. And then.
No, it came out 3 years ago.
Is it only 3 years ago?
Yeah, that sounds right, actually.
Because Cloverfield was 2008. And then 10 Cloverfield was like 2016.
16.
Was it that much later? Damn, I thought that was like 2012 or something.
Yeah, that would have been my guess too, actually.
Wow.
2016.
Okay. Now I'm way off on my dates then. Either way. Yeah. So, and then just to reconnect us back in, and we'll get to What If in a second, but to kind of lead us into that, the Marvel Avengers video game that has been out for a while just released its Black Panther DLC, so you can be Black Panther now and like go to Wakanda, and there's like a whole like side quest mission thing there for him.
Free, right? If you own the game, it's free download.
If you own the game, it's free. Yeah, so they that's the one right thing that they're doing with this game. It's really not good. Like I don't know why I keep going back to it. It's never been good, and I'm like, maybe this time, and it's just like, nope, it's still bad. I mean, basically the main problem is you're playing as the Avengers. Like you can pick from Thor, Captain America, there's Black Widow, there's Hawkeye, like there's all these characters now, and now Black Panther. But because it's a video game, you can't, like, if you're playing Thor, like he kills everything in like one hit with his hammer, basically, and they can't do that in a video game. But because they can't do that in a video game, it feels like shit to play as Thor, because you have to hit like a regular man with Mjolnir like 11 times to take away like half of his health. And I'm like, fuck this game. Like, I'm Thor. Let me smash it. Like, it just doesn't feel good to play. And the voice acting is inconsistent. It's beautiful. The characters look really cool. The environments are great. It's one of the probably better looking games out right now, but it's just not fun to play. Like,
it's weird too, because they did put together a good voice cast for it. And
it's honestly distracting to me, because it's just the regular people that are in every game.
Yeah.
Like Nolan North is Tony Stark, and Troy Baker is Bruce Banner, and Laura Bailey is Black Widow. Yeah, like everyone's in there, and they're in every game, and they just sound like themselves. So I'm just like, Like it says, and actually the guy who plays Black Panther is Christopher Judge, who played Kratos in the new God of War. But he at least sounds really different, because he's doing like a Wakandan accent, so you can barely tell that it's him, which is good. I don't know, man. That game is stupid.
I don't know how it keeps hanging on, though. I mean, they keep making content for it.
It's because it's Square Enix and they have a lot of money, because it's not making money. It's bleeding money. Like, I don't know why they keep supporting it. I'm like, just let it die. Yeah. Like, I know they can't, because it's the Marvel Avengers property. Like, they can't just let it die. I'm sure Disney would have something to say about that, but yeah, man, it does just need to go away at this point. Anyway, speaking of Marvel,
so
let's move on to What If. Yeah, what if it went away? There's my transition. You're welcome.
What if?
So who's seen this? I know we've all seen the first episode, but who has not seen the second episode?
I think I'm the only one who hasn't seen the second episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I can say that I greatly enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was really cool. I really liked having Jesus, man, I'm blanking on Captain America's name.
Peggy Carter?
No, not like actually
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers. It was cool to see Steve Rogers be like Iron Man. And that he was developed, by his dad, because they had the Tesseract to build it off of. It all made sense. And Captain Carter was fucking rad. Like,
she was cool. Like, it was really fun to watch. She whooped some ass. Like, it was really fun to watch her. Like, because the first Captain America movie, I really enjoyed the first Captain America movie, but it definitely parts of it do not age well, and some of it is like the combat, like when he's doing certain fight scenes and jumping through the air, like it just looks really like he's super on wires and doesn't look very good
it's
anymore.
Super stylized.
Yeah, and this like is what I wish that movie looked like when she's fighting people and throwing her shield and smashing tanks and all this other shit. Like it was really cool. I enjoyed it as well. That first episode.
It was cool, and I like that they still made the time jump kind of thing have to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like, what was going to happen was still going to happen in some way.
Right.
It just happened to her instead.
Yeah, I love the animation. I love how it's like it almost looks rotoscoped, but not.
Dude, it's gorgeous. Like
It's really good.
One of the best looking animated shows I think that's ever been put to TV.
Yeah.
Like it, because
Easily.
it's got its unique style. Like it's not hyper realistic, but it's more the movement that's important. Like with animation, and the movement in these shows is so good.
I'm impressed
and the lighting and
with who they got with the voice actors, so where they got a lot of them.
The second episode is so impressive how many people they got in the second episode. I won't say everyone because some of it's spoilers and I don't want David to know who they are, but when I heard
it's the last thing that Chadwick Boseman recorded for
we know he's the main character, but there are a lot of other side characters that are like, oh shit, they're in this episode.
But
yeah, Chadwick well, I think he did more than that episode because I remember them talking about that, and they said that he recorded a few things, I think, for this show. So
David,
I don't know.
You're muted.
Of course, I'm muted. My dogs were making noise, so I think they said he did like 4 episodes.
I think that's
He
right.
did, but I think this episode was the last thing that he recorded, so out of order. Because I was reading something from the guy that did the recording. He said it was really going to be a heavy episode for them to watch because it was the last one that he did.
It was honestly like the first one was super fun. The second one was incredible. I thought it was
really
way better. Like, because the first one was like, you can tell even in the second one, but you can tell some of these actors aren't used to just being voice actors. Like there are certain lines that just deliver they're a little off. And the same thing happens in the second episode, but just the amount of people they got back and the way things are different. Like the first episode, like her journey is largely Steve's journey with like, obviously a few little differences and Steve in the armor, but fucking Adobe Flash.
Every fucking
Like the third episode in a row.
Every show.
But the second episode, like, is night and day different than like Star-Lord's journey or even T'Challa's journey, obviously, but like some of the cameos that they get. And I think for all of the major characters, only 2 were not their original voice actors. And I'm not going to say who they are until David watches it, but I was like blown away how many people they got back. I was like, wow. I mean, they're Marvel, of course they did, but like,
and I mean, I would think too for voiceovers, like I was saying before, I gotta imagine it's a lot easier to work that into a schedule than having to like
for sure
shoot something. And some of these folks, like I said, might have their own little,
their booths,
recording booth in their house. So
you can do it at home now anyway. It's still send an engineer to you.
COVID changed what's acceptable, but with these voice actors working from home, a lot of companies were building out like full on equipment sets and then sending it out to actors so that they could record from home.
Dude, crazy. The second episode was fantastic, though.
Yeah, so far it's been really, really good.
Agreed.
I knew before it even started that it would edge out Loki on the list, but I'd say right now it's might be my favorite thing that Marvel shows put out. Maybe
completely.
We'll see how it goes through, if it maintains what it's doing, or as far as the entertainment value and the surprises. Because even now, like, it's not showing all the different characters of episodes coming out, so you don't know if those voice actors are
this poster behind me, it cropped perfectly actually, because there's some people like up here that, like, just by looking at them you can kind of tell what's going to happen in the episode, just at least vaguely. But I was like, oh cool, we got Peggy and we got T'Challa, and that's it, and that's all we need to see basically right now. So
it's really if you go back and watch the trailer for the show, though, there's
so much shit. I think it's hard to say at this moment because there's only 2 episodes. I think this would be my number 2 behind Falcon and Winter Soldier. Still, I really enjoyed that show. But this
has the advantage, though, that it doesn't have to carry over from episode to episode. So they're creating separate. They don't have to carry a storyline and
for sure,
and deal with that. It definitely helps.
Yeah, I agree. But they're fun. Like, they're super fun. I'm really enjoying them. they're cartoons, so they get a little goofy at times, but that's totally fine. Like, it's totally acceptable within the realm of what they are. But yeah, they're great. I can't wait to see more. And David, you need to watch the second episode. Dude, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's just
so
been I watch them with my daughter, and it's it's the beginning of school is about to start. It sounds like everyone else has started. So
I'm gonna do you a favor.
Behind.
Last Crusade, amazing. Go ahead and leave now and just watch that episode. But yeah.
She might be asleep already.
Doesn't matter. It's only half hour.
He was actually thinking about it. He's like, well, maybe.
Just go wake her up.
I mean, by the way that we move, you'd probably be able to get back and still talk to us.
Still talk about it.
No, but yeah, when we're done, definitely make that a priority. I just don't want it to get spoiled for you online because there's so many cool things that happen.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen anything. I fortunately have had very little time, so that sounds good. I will. It's my plan to get to it much sooner than later.
Faux show. But yeah, what if thumbs up for me, at least, for sure. I think for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, everything I've seen so far has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think this almost, and granted we're only 2 episodes in, almost edges out Falcon and Winter Soldier as my number one. I think right now they're neck and neck. I think so far this is the best thing we've seen for the Marvel TV setup. And it does, you're right, it does not have to carry a storyline, like a complete through line, so it will have that advantage. But what if is
or disadvantage, depending on what you think.
Well, that's exactly. What if I do remember some episodes of that comic were not good. They were ridiculous premises.
Yeah.
And so far, again, the first two, like, the Peggy Carter, that was the only one that we really knew they were going to do. They talked about that from the beginning. It was the big kind of teaser that they threw out there. I had no idea of what they were doing with the second one, and was super pleasantly surprised because they did it so fucking well. It was so well written.
Yeah, it was.
The story works.
Yeah.
And again, David, just go and watch it right now. Really. Dependent Man Bad. We get it. It's cool. We're good.
Just mute yourself, watch it on your phone, and
I would
tell your
never
daughter
do that.
you didn't see it yet, and then watch it later again with her.
Watching it on my phone's like that's not gonna happen.
That is a bit of a crime. This show is.
No.
It's fucking beautiful.
It is really, really pretty. Yeah, the animation's astoundingly good. But that's that Disney money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they know a thing or two about animation.
They made a couple of those.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that takes us to our franchises.
Whew, buckle in.
So,
you're spinning, so you'll go last.
Yeah, I'll go last.
I should be spinning too. This is the last one in my trilogy.
That's
No,
true.
yeah.
No,
sir.
You're all done. There's no other movies besides those three. They never made another totally horrible one.
Yeah. 1.5. 1.5. They're in the process of the fifth one.
We don't know that it probably will be really bad, but we don't technically know that it's going to be bad yet.
I'd be willing to. I'd be willing to offer you so that you didn't have to watch Crystal Skulls. You could go watch all 3 of the Librarian movies with Noah Wyle on Hulu.
What does that mean? What?
I can't imagine that's better. That sounds pretty terrible.
No, they're not.
No, they're better.
Well, they're probably
Since
better than the Crystal Skull.
Since we're talking about it, why don't you go ahead and talk about Last Crusade?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It is of the actual 3 films in this series.
The actual 3.
Yeah, it is my favorite. I think the addition of his father in it is amazing. But beyond that, I think the characters are fantastic. He gets the call initially, and he has the first adventure without his father in the library where they've got to find the tomb, and he's got the hot German archaeologist to work alongside of him. I thought that was the first time where they had love. Geez, my brain is not working.
Love interest.
Sexual
Thank you.
chemistry?
Love interest. I've got Alex here for the assist. The love interest that made sense for him for once. And so I thought that she was good. She was well cast. They had chemistry. It worked. and then he gets his father back, and then all the complications from that point on are just fantastic. The two of them play off each other so well.
Yeah.
You get all the fun stuff, the action adventure, the blimp scene, the airplane scene, the tank scene through the desert. They're all fantastic, and they're all super, super Indiana Jonesy. And then the whole temple scene with the traps and all of that is like a total throwback to the original like opening scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It really works, and the old knight is super awesome. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's just a complete movie from start to finish. I don't know why they made another one after that film. There was never going to be a better one.
It's like Toy Story 4.
There's no reason
like, why?
Yeah, there was no reason to keep going. They nailed it. They're like, so
Money.
Crystal Skull is a travesty, and I hated it, and I'm gonna hate it again. But I'm gonna hate it with lots of notes and detail, so that we can really stretch it out for all of you.
So next week we should not watch anything. We should just reserve the whole episode.
Yeah, the whole last of the episode will be
we're on a drought,
discussion
people.
as to why this movie sucks.
Yeah.
Who needs DC? This one film will do it just on its own.
It will.
Crystal Skull, Solo, Cats. Like those are the.
I almost want to say like we should all watch it again.
No.
Just so that we can.
Yeah,
No.
I support this. I think this would be great because then you guys could throw in your 2 cents with
tear into it. Because I remember almost nothing about that movie, so it's like
me too. I remember like
Aliens,
the refrigerator. I remember
the refrigerator.
Oh, I remember a lot about.
I remember
the
monkey swinging and the Jeep chase
and
through the
aliens.
forest,
That's all I remember.
and
the fucking warehouse and the.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah,
I don't remember a warehouse.
Yeah,
It's where everything was shot. It was everything.
I
was
think
shot.
Alex and I have like the
Shot in the
exact same level of memory of this film.
100%.
Yeah,
I saw it once, and once was enough.
yeah, same. And I vowed I'd never see it again. So you're making me break a vow. So thank you, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
But
the wheel, man.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a-
I remember. Yeah, I definitely think I made a similar vow about the High School Musical sequels in the past.
So
And I have to be a man of my word, so I don't know if I can.
You
I
made
don't
a
know if
vow
I
with
can,
yourself.
Yeah, I was like, you know what?
I think I remember. I did say I could watch the first one. but
Yeah,
not
I was like, you know what?
any
Yeah.
sequel.
No, the
So,
first one just needs to be
sorry.
its own thing.
a vow's
2
a
and
vow,
3 are
guys.
out. Yeah.
Just remember, dude, this is Disney. If you wait too long, there's going to be a 4th one before you finish.
Oh yeah,
Fuck, you're right.
and another season of the TV show that you'll
Yeah.
feel compelled to watch after
I
you fall
will
in love with
not
them.
feel compelled at all.
So, all right, I yield the floor to.
You know what
I guess we're going to Kevin next.
I think
Yeah, should we-
we know it already for you, David. It's 312, but I think something that we should start doing with these franchises is ranking them.
Oh
like-
yeah,
I like that.
Okay.
What we think about, like what order they should go in, at least to us personally. So I think again, David, it's 312 for
Yep.
you. Is that correct? Yeah.
And I'm honestly surprised that 2 was much closer to 1 than I had previously remembered.
I
I
liked
remembered
it.
liking it a lot more. It still has some very slow parts, but there were some really cool parts that I just hadn't remembered were there. So it's a much better film than I remembered going in.
Nice.
All right, sir. On to Star Trek.
Star Trek
Generations.
Generations. Star Trek 7
So
Generations.
this was the first one of the with Picard.
of the Next Generation series, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this one actually, they did a good job tying the 2 franchises together.
Mhm.
It opens up with Kirk and Scotty.
And Chekhov.
Yeah, Chekhov. Yeah, and Chekhov on the bridge of a new Enterprise. Is it
I think
the
it's
Enterprise
B.
B?
I think it's
Yeah.
B. Yeah.
I think it's the B, and so they're taking it out just on a sort of a maiden voyage kind of thing. So they're going to fly around, stop at a station, and come back. And they have Kirk and Scotty and Chekhov there just kind of to be the senior officers from the old ship, just to wish it well, right?
And kind of christen the voyage. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so they get out there and they're about to turn around and come back, and they get a distress call and of course Cameron Fry is the captain of the Enterprise B.
That's what I was about to ask.
Alan Ruck. And so he's like, well, let's see if we can get somebody out here. And Kirk's like, bro, you're right here.
Yeah, we're right
he's
here.
Like, let's, and nobody else is in range. So they decide to go try and check out this rescue. And they get there, and as soon as things start to go sideways, you realize that Alan Ruck is not Captain Kirk, right? Like, he's not ready for action. He's ready for, to just kind of fly a ship around and see shit, right? And so things inevitably start to go sideways, and Kirk kind of just takes over. And he ultimately plays the hero. He goes down they're trying to get people off of this, off of these ships that are in this wave of shit that's pulling them apart. And so they start beaming people off, and Kirk's got to get down to
subspace anomaly.
Yeah,
basically.
And Kirk's got to get down to a deck to help flip some extra power breakers.
Because the ship gets hit by like a band of energy, and it like damages.
That's at the very end. Yeah. So he's trying to help get the people off. So he's got to go crank up the juice for them, and the deck that he happens to be on gets destroyed. And as far as you see in the movie, Kirk dies in that scene, which fits everything that ever happened in Next Generation, because for everybody else that ever showed up in Next Generation, Kirk never did.
Right.
In the original run of the series, McCoy showed up.
Yep. He was in the first episode.
Yeah. Leonard Nimoy, I think, showed up at one point.
He showed up a couple times.
Yeah.
So did
Scotty showed up. Yeah. He. So they tried to get a bunch of people back on the show as it went, but Kirk never showed up, which is probably Shatner being Shatner more than anything else. But so for all intents and purposes, in the opening scene, he dies. So then we jump forward, and they have a little fun opening with the Next Generation crew where they're on the USS Enterprise, but it's an old warship on the ocean. So it's an old
like a pirate ship, basically.
Wooden battleship. They're doing Worf's promotion, right? He's I forget what is he getting, full commander or something?
He's getting lieutenant to lieutenant commander.
Right. Lieutenant to the lieutenant.
Did you just watch this movie?
Yeah. Anyways, so they get that, and during that, Picard gets a note that his brother and nephew were killed, which, fucks him up for a little while. He's really emotional about it. But during this time, they go to they get a distress call, and they go to this space station that was doing some experiments, and there's only one survivor, and it's Malcolm McDowell. His character's name is something with an S that I can't remember now. I didn't write it down, so I suck. But he's number one. Malcolm McDowell is always awesome. I love Malcolm McDowell.
Soran.
Yeah, Soren.
Yeah, Soren.
So they bring him back on board, and during this time, he gets onto one of the entertainment decks, and it happens to be the one that Whoopi Goldberg's character Guinan is working on, and she remembers him because she was rescued in that same event that happened at the beginning of the movie, and so was he. And so she starts to kind of piece things together that he's probably being a little shady right now. And it comes out that they were trapped in this thing called the Nexus, which is essentially, it's sort of like a purgatory. Time doesn't really happen in this place, right? And everything is just kind of what you want your life to be. And so he's trying to get back there at any cost. He'll kill anything and everything to get back there. And so he ultimately he destroys a star, which redirects the kind of path of this nexus as it's going through space to directly hit a planet that he goes and lands on. So suck him up. They were saying if you're on a ship, it's too dangerous. Like the way that it affects ships and equipment, they kind of get torn apart. But the planet, you just kind of get sucked off the planet. And so he gets himself and Picard pulled into the Nexus in the process of destroying the planet, and it's seemingly killing the entire crew of the Enterprise and everybody else that's on the planet.
Well, and everything else around them, because when he blows up the star, the shockwave of the star
that's right.
the entire system. Like it blows everything.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's not an oops. He doesn't give a shit. Like he is intentionally killing everything.
Yeah, he definitely did it on purpose.
Yeah. And so then you've got Picard wakes up kind of in the Nexus, and he's got this perfect fantasy. It literally looks like a Dickens Christmas movie. Like it opens up, and all of a sudden he's got kids that he never had because he never had time to, and he's got a wife that he never had time to have, and so he's kind of got this little perfect life, which he acknowledges a couple of times that he knows is not real, but he also can't really let go of it because in a scene earlier he was talking about his brother's son and how that was going to be the continuation of the Picard line. Like his brother's son he never had to have a kid, and he never had to worry about that because his brother had a son. And so his nephew was the closest he was ever going to have to a son. And so, this kind of forces him to come to terms with that. And he ultimately realizes that he can't stay in this little fantasy land. He's got to get back to trying to stop this guy, because in the Nexus, time doesn't matter. So even though it has, in what we saw as a time stream, has gone past this and they've killed people, he's still in that moment before that happened, because as soon as he got in there, time stopped, right there. And so he realizes that he's got to go find someone to help him, and he comes across Kirk, who does not know that any of this has happened. He's just happy living on a ranch, because for him, like it feels like they've entered at the same time. Like Kirk is just living, this little dream world in there. But of course, being very Kirk, he realizes that it's just not real enough. And so what I think one of the lines right there before they decide to go back and try and fight the Mr. Soren there, he says something like, are we going to save the day? And he's like, yeah, it's going to be dangerous. He's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, let's do this, And so they go back and, they ultimately obviously save the day, and Kirk gives up his life for real this time to help Picard stop Soren. And this one actually ends with the destruction of the Enterprise D, which is the Enterprise that is in the
TV show
background here. Yeah. When it was on the TV show the whole time. And it's
but then they get the Enterprise E, which is markedly more badass looking.
Yeah. I always like the D better though, actually.
You would like the D more.
Oh yeah. I see what you did there.
Oh.
And he got him. Way to bring it back to earlier when we're talking about touching tips. That's what we call a callback in the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't have any doubt that I was going to love this movie. I love these movies. I love the originals, and so this one for me I saw it in the theater, and it was a really cool tie-in because I was always growing up was a Captain Kirk fan, and for as much as I love Next Generation, I do love Picard a lot. Like it was really cool for me, more so as a young fan than now, but just to see these movies tie together, which was really cool. So
yeah, this is my favorite Star Trek movie. Generally, I watched it all the time as a kid. Like just think I broke the VHS. Shit is like just got worn out.
Yeah. My favorite was always was Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Voyage Home, yeah.
That's the only one I've seen.
Voyage Home,
really?
That's a great one.
That one,
the whales,
except for and then I saw the newer one, the first of the newer ones.
Oh, with like Chris Pine.
Abrams.
Yeah, I saw that. The first
that one's great.
I love the first one.
Yeah,
but we're not there yet. So, anyways, that's it. Love the movie. I'll watch the next 3 soon. I already know I'm going to enjoy them. I've seen them all, so it's a good franchise for 1.5.
Yeah, it's solid.
Okay. Well, I guess that leaves
Yeah.
me to finish us off with a little Lethal Weapon 4. Okay. Remember I've seen this before, and I remember liking it for the most part. But watching it this time, it didn't hold up. So I kind of wrote out just the opening scene, because like they do their crazy opening scene, then they get into the actual movie. So this is just the opening scene, and then I'll kind of just give a brief synopsis of the rest of it that goes on. But basically, 2 homicide detectives arrive to the scene of a man with a flamethrower and machine gun. They're the only cops and or people on the scene. It's pouring rain in LA. I mean, it's pouring rain.
Always pouring rain.
Yeah, it's like crazy pouring rain. But they're the only car that shows up to this dude who's just flamethrowing shit and shooting shit around the neighborhood, like down Wilshire. During all the chaos of the shooter, Riggs and Murtaugh revealed to each other that they are going to be a father and grandfather. Cops start arriving to the location. So for some reason, they're being shot out. And that's the time where they always seem to have these conversations. Like they will get each other's attention to start talking about, stupid shit that, where under normal circumstances, if you're being shot at, kind of want to pay attention to, that situation. But no, these guys decide that's the time where they're going to find out that Riggs is going to be a father and Murtaugh is going to be a grandfather. They each knew each other's secret and confess them. With little to no hesitation, Riggs talks Murtaugh into taking his clothes off in order to distract the gunman. Instantly thinks this is a great idea. So like it's pointing right all, I know, take off your clothes and it'll distract the gunman. He's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that. Instantly thinks it's a great idea. He also has to flap his arms and act like a bird. No argument whatsoever. Murtaugh's totally on board with everything. Yes, absolutely. It's a good idea. I'm going to take my clothes off, flap my arms like a chicken, and to distract this guy so he will look at me and, likely possibly shoot me and or hit me with the flamethrower so you can shoot him. The gunman has a welder's mask and some sort of torso body armor. Riggs consistently shoots him in the chest and head when his arms and legs are completely unprotected. So
he was a marksman, right? Like his character's backstory.
Yeah, like super marksman.
Yeah, so he just doesn't hit that. Riggs shoots the tank of the back of the gunman, which sends him soaring directly to a gas tanker at a gas station, which instantly explodes, launching the tanker and landing on Riggs and Murtaugh's car. So
you'll have to lose at least one car per episode.
Yeah, per movie enter. Yeah. So it and then the scene ends off with them kind of walking together towards the cop cars that finally showed up. Murtaugh's just in his boxers and shoes, carrying his gun, and Riggs, of course, is laughing, whatever. So then it goes to 9 months later, and they're on Murtaugh's boat with Leo, and they're in the middle of it looks like someone snagged a shark, and it's in the boat. So it's like kind of like a fishing boat from like say Jaws, a little boat that size, and they're just talking about stuff. Obviously, one of them's about to become a father, the other one's a grandfather. Murtaugh doesn't know who the father of Rianne's baby is, which is odd, being a detective. But he doesn't know who the father is, who you come to find out pretty early on that it's Chris Rock, who is playing another detective in the department who is trying to befriend Murtaugh, and he's like, new comic relief to the thing. He's like being super, attentive to him and all this stuff. And Murtaugh doesn't understand why. He seems to think Riggs gives him the idea that he's gay and he's just coming on to him. So that plays really well. And then while they're on this boat, though, the Leo's getting very annoying, but it's just stupid it was going on. All of a sudden, this huge tanker comes out of nowhere and kind of sideswipes their boat. They hear a gunshot on the boat, because as the ship hits, it comes right next to you. You can hear real clearly everything else that's going on around you. So you hear a gunshot on the boat. So what does Riggs do? He instantly, jumps onto this big tanker to find out what's going on, shoots a few people, come to find out that it was a human trafficking cargo ship. And they found a bunch of, I think it was it Koreans? I don't know. I don't remember what the nationality was, but but I think it's Chinese. A bunch of Chinese being smuggled onto there, and so they call the immigration or whoever, the cops. They show up and they're talking about how these people, it's real sad. They pay a bunch of money to come up to this country. They get smuggled in, and then when they get caught, they just basically get processed and sent back. A lot of times they don't get any of the money back. It's this and that. It's just a trafficking ring. So Murtaugh is really taken aback by this because it reminds him of kind of like slavery, and so he's upset that all these people that he's saving are basically just going back to a life that that they don't want to go to anyway. And as all this is going on in the ship, he's kind of walking back. He had to go back out to get something was left of his boat, which got sank during this whole thing because of a stupid gas barrel that shot up off of the tanker ship and went directly into his boat, which sank it. So again, something else that Riggs ended up destroying. But as he's grabbing these little mementos, there's a little like lifeboat there, and underneath the tarp are like a family of 8 Chinese there. So what does he do? Instead of giving them to the immigration to process, he takes them home. And so the next day, Riggs comes over and he's like, "What's going on?" And he goes into the kitchen, and this whole family of Chinese are there. So cut to them finding out that there's this whole talking to their investigators with in the department for, I don't know what department that they're with, but they have a bunch of information about this Chinese smuggling ring. They go and visit this old Chinese guy, and this is where Jet Li makes his appearance. So this is, I think, actually Jet Li's first real movie that I looked at his IMDb page, and it looked like this was like the first thing that anybody would have really seen him in, at least in the US, most likely. So he's he's basically the Bruce Lee of this movie, is the way they kind of use him. And it's interesting because this is a few years past the last Lethal Weapon, and so they do make mention of the fact that that they're both aging. This was about 6 years after Lethal Weapon 3, which was it was 5 years after the first Lethal Weapon. So they're going to be aging. So Riggs gets his ass kicked quite a bit in this movie, but he has like a couple moments where it works out for him, like always. Some of the worst part of the whole thing was, unfortunately, was Rene Russo's character, because she's pregnant in it, and so she's really playing up the mood swings, the hunger, all the stereotypical pregnant woman things. So she's not in a lot of the movie. But the whole scene in the hospital when she's about to give birth is so over the top stupid. It's almost like it's a scene that was written last minute and just says, "Here, just scream all your lines." And they end up getting Riggs Riggs and her get married there by a rabbi, and it's just, I don't know, it's just such a stupid. And then they have the worst line of the whole fucking thing. So Rianne and Rene Russo's character, I don't forget her name, they somehow have their babies the exact same time. They not like this scheduled. It was just like their waters broke. This was time.
They do.
Yeah. And so they're all in the hospital at the same time. And so finally they want to get this whole group picture together, and they get a doctor to take their picture, and he says, are you guys all friends? And then they go, no, and they all together say, no, we're family. It was like, I still remember the first time I saw that, I cringed, and I cringe every time I see it. I'm like, God, that's such a, like, how could when they said cut, nobody go, are we really, is this really like how we're ending the movie? Is this seriously? Because it's so stupid. It was so stupid. I'm like, Joe Pesci, dude, come on, what are you doing? So yeah, the fourth one, it kind of, it doesn't really stick the landing. There are definitely some cool parts about it. I do remember, the scenes with Jet Li when he's kind of doing his shit was actually kind of cool. Just how quick that dude can move, and but still you get just the ridiculousness of like, why these are homicide detectives. And in this one, they went from sergeant to captain to
back to beat cop, I'm sure.
No.
Not quite enough.
Captain to what's above captain? Lieutenant?
Yeah.
To lieutenants, like in a matter of like 3 days. It was like, what? How's it? Yeah. So they throwing around badges, and they always had the badges right available. It was like, no, I know there's a process from going from one rank to another. It's just not like, hey, you want to be a captain? There you go. There's a captain. You're a captain now. It's like, no.
I'm sorry. You may have addressed this when I got up, but did they ever address why Riggs didn't, or why Murtaugh didn't retire?
No.
He just, because that was like the whole part of the plot of the last one.
It must have been still within the 10 years he has a fair.
Yeah, it was only 6 years later, so he's still got 4 years to go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why. So yeah, it
What's your ranking for these four?
Oh, I would probably go
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll say, yeah, maybe just an order, maybe.
No, I liked 3 more than 2.
Okay.
So I guess probably 1, 3, 2, 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 1, 3, 2, 4. So, but I mean, they're not going to age well. They're not aging horribly, but they're not going to age well. So yeah, so watch them while you can, I guess. So now I have to spin. Well, I'll just spin and tell you guys what I got. How's that?
Sure, yeah, that'll work.
Shut up, Pete.
Honestly,
let him cheat.
If you show us the screen, that's fine.
No, I'm fine.
Make
I
Kevin work.
I like adding it.
I don't, I'm ready for this. It's not work.
I'm ready for this. Now, will I be able to share my content?
I'm getting it set right now.
It says only
radio. Yeah.
Okay. Come on, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
3, 2, 1. Contact.
Ooh.
Contact. Oh God, I remember that show.
Broadcast.
Spin the wheel. Franchise wheel. All right.
All right.
And I don't have anything.
So you have anything to add? You good?
I don't think so, because because we already have some of the Pixar stuff on there. Because that's what I thought. So, all right,
Toy Story's on there.
Yeah. Cars is on there. Toy Story's on there. Yeah. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Oh shit! I'd say we should take Next Generation off of there.
If it pops up, then we'll just automatically give him something else.
Yeah.
Oh, you lucky
Beverly
fucker.
Hills Cop.
Oh no.
Beverly Hills Cop.
The first 2 are good.
Yeah,
You know
the first 2 are fine, but that third
third
one,
is
that was a
so
one
bad.
and done. That was a one and
Is there
done.
only 3?
Yeah.
There's only 3. Yeah,
That's not
it's a
bad.
nice, easy
No,
one.
the
That's
third.
not
That's
bad.
a one and done.
The
The
first
shot at
one's
Great
so
America. That's how bad it was.
Yeah,
It
it was
shot
not
at
Great America.
It was
The third one
Right.
is just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first one's so good.
Yeah, the third
Yeah,
one
oh,
is
yeah.
like the worst cash grab.
I need somebody
Ever.
to take fucking Friday the 13th off this goddamn wheel before I spin again. I'm not getting it.
We
I
gotta
like how you
put
went from
together a game. That
from
way
one
you got a
80s
chance.
cop series to another.
Oh, I just deleted off the wheel.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop for Opie.
All right. That's not okay. The first two I can get through for sure. Second one, that'll be good. But that third one, man, that's gonna have to be like a quick. I'm just gonna have to get through it.
Well, I'm almost positive. I think that is a tight 90 minutes on that last one.
Yeah, I think so too. I haven't watched it. I watched 1 and 2 recently, not that long ago. And 1 is amazing. 2, I remember being my favorite, but when I went back and rewatched it, it was not. It was not as good as I remember.
It's an hour 44.
Yeah, and then I remember the third one just being total crap, and I just didn't watch it. I thought about it, but I never got around to actually doing it.
All right.
Well, I guess that's it. Next week, we'll have obviously probably more what if talk. So David, please come prepared.
I'll be prepared.
All right.
And then we should have Ted Lasso. We have C premiering this week. So C's coming back. Season 2 with Dave Bautista's in it.
Yeah, he's the bad guy this time. It looks like from the trailers.
So from the trailers, it definitely looks like they looks like they lightened it up a little bit, but it definitely looks like a more intriguing story.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
Is it worth watching? Was it worth?
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was really good.
I actually never watched it. I should get caught up this week.
You definitely should watch it. It's
I have power.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
you might not be able to see anything.
It's a little slow to start as far as establishing its the rules of this of this universe kind of thing and the characters themselves. But once it gets going, it's really I thought it really started picking up momentum as the season went on.
Yeah, it's definitely got like Mad Max vibes mixed with, Kevin, you'll appreciate, like Horizon Zero Dawn kind of stuff. And
the production value though is pretty astounding.
It's so good. Yeah. It's a beautiful show.
Yeah, so
I don't think Apple TV Plus has missed on a single production value.
Yeah, that's true.
They tend to
they've been
not skimping.
This Mr. Corman, which is on Apple TV Plus, is also A24 production. So I think a lot of these productions, because that Mr. Corman's, like I said, it's created, written, directed by, at least the first episode was by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So
JGL.
It's I mean, quite the variety of programming now. And then I know later in November, I think, is the morning show's coming back. And then something else is coming back.
What We Do in the Shadows is coming back September 2nd. I'm so
nice. I love that show.
It's a great show.
So plenty to come. When I was at the theater, I did see another preview for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So that, and also
2 weeks.
Eternals. I saw
the new Eternals. That one looked a lot better than the first one, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
They let you know a little more. You saw a whole lot more. You saw how it ties to the Celestials in, from Guardians of the Galaxy, so it bridges into that.
Yep.
They're already laying that foundation for the whole Thanos thing and why they did. They're like, hey, look, here's the commercial before you even ask the fucking questions. This is why we didn't do anything about Thanos.
Yep.
I was always gonna see it no matter what, obviously. But this last trailer made me excited to see it. I was like, oh, this looks fucking cool. I
don't know if I reached excited yet, but I'm more excited, I guess.
It's more or less kind of like, how upset am I going to be to spend the money? Am I going to be happy to spend the money? Or am I going to be pissed that I spent the money? right now I'm like, I'm willing to spend the money.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah,
don't
for sure.
forget Venom is coming out soon. It got pushed back again.
Oof.
So I'm
Oh,
sure none of us are going to go see
Need to
it.
make
does not
need to
bode
make a
well.
couple more tweaks, do they?
No, they're worried about me getting any money from a COVID.
Uh,
They don't have an
Yeah.
HBO or Disney deal, so
Eesh.
they have to put it in theaters.
I'm not. I don't see seeing that one. I even like last time when you and I went and saw it. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, maybe a $5.
Yeah, I may
Tuesday.
just
Yeah,
for
I think
shits and
$5
giggles,
Tuesday.
like bite the bullet.
Maybe.
If nobody else is going to go and see it, I may sacrificial lamb myself.
I'll do
and go and
I'll
see
do a
it.
$5 Tuesday for sure.
Oh, I can't imagine doing even that.
I can't
I didn't.
imagine.
The first one was not good, but I didn't hate
I
it.
sat next to you at Kong versus Godzilla, and you're all, I cannot imagine seeing that. I would probably see. I could. I honestly, I could.
See, you're
myself
confused.
see-
Kong versus Godzilla was a fun movie. That was a
It was
good film.
garbage.
It's really good.
No, I'm sorry. I like it visually. Yeah. If I were deaf, greatest movie I've ever seen. You had that dialogue, and it's like, geez.
It's not why you're there.
Yeah, you don't
It's like-
It's not why you're there.
Yeah. You know what? I need to have someone that's deaf and someone that's blind see the
Oh
movie
my
together.
god, it's like 8 episodes.
and
Ago.
then argue argue back and forth on how good the movie was, because they'll have drastically opposing views.
Just like all of
As
us
you would
and
with any Godzilla movie.
All right. Well,
Go to bed and enjoy your last few hours of power, Kevin.
yeah. Let us know
Right.
if you need any power. I'm not
Yeah,
that
Not
we
that
can
we
send
can
you
do
any,
anything about it.
but
Yeah.
At least we'll know.
Just send me some batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a
Um,
flashlight and then the wrong size batteries.
Yeah, yeah.
A flashlight. I got a
Just one.
flashlight and a bunch of AAAs.
Yeah, here's a cop flashlight and AAA batteries. I think if you just jam them in there, it'll probably work.
Yeah. Stack them. Just stack
Power's
'em.
power.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Just
Power's
tape
power.
them together. It'll do.
Rubber band them around. Jesus. Holy. I see MacGyver. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
The fuck was that?
Is that a dog?
Bitching. Yeah, he likes to bitch by the door when he wants to go outside.
Oh. Or we better take
If
him
I
out
don't let him
now.
out. Yeah, if I don't let him out, he'll shit in my house. So he's a real dick like that.
There you go. I mean, at least he's telling you what's about to happen.
Yeah.
He does. He gives
He's
you.
giving you the
He
warning.
gives you fair warning. He's like,
Yeah.
dude,
I'm about shit on your
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Got a turtle head poking out.
There's a
Yeah.
second warning. You better,
Yeah.
it's like, he's like, bro, do you like how it smells in here right now? I'm about to change that.
He's totally
It's true.
crouching right now. He's like, you know what this crouch looks like. You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
If I had to
only
bark
one thing comes next.
One more time.
Yeah.
Don't even
Yeah.
bother coming over.
You already
without a
got,
paper towel.
you already own a dog, but you're about to own a turtle. It's happening right now.
Yeah. I don't know why you went with the white carpet, but that is your choice.